Well, hello folks, and welcome to The Big Hollow, a investigative murder mystery visual novel where you're really gonna have to play detective. I played the demo for this like 3 months ago, and you can actually continue from where you left off in the demo, but that was 3 months ago. I don't remember any goddamn thing. So I'm going to be playing it over, and I'll just, for those of you that watched me play the demo and don't want to see all that again, I'll just put a timestamp so that you can skip right to the next part of the case, if you want to do so. But, yeah, I'm gonna play this, because I remember this being very fun and being a real nice brain tickler. So, let's go. Yes, I'm still going to start over. Because I would like to remember the details of the case, please. Because, like, the demo didn't end with, like, a full finished case. I remember that. Ma? Ma, you sleeping? Ma? I'm coming in, okay? Don't be mad. Irma Luckett's pies. Okay, Johnny's Pizza. Ma's stuff. Her things are still here. I don't reckon she left me no pie anyhow. Okay. Why, this empty. What's going on? Sure sounds like we're in a... Ma? Ma? Hello? Ma? Oh. Oh dear. Hello. You don't seem to be doing too well up there. Looks like I'm alone. I don't know how I should feel about this. Whenever I was with her, I was sure that she didn't even like me. I guess maybe this is a good thing. Alright, here we are. In L. Davidson's office. No. Time to get out of your head, Desmond. She should be here any moment now. You'll find out what this is about soon enough. Special Agent Trainer Lenore Davidson. She ran behavioral sciences classes for us recruits here and there.
Why, though?
But why of all people has she called for me here, and where is she? Looks like she runs a tight ship, especially compared to the other essays I've reported to. Looks like a photo of Lenore's inauguration to the FBI. Not sure about this other one, though.
Huh.
Seems to be an FBI rejection letter. From Hoover himself, no less. Wonder what the story is. Oh, we already... Oh, so if you've already checked it out, it... Wait, no? Yeah, if you've already checked it out, it becomes yellow. That's nice. The seal of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the symbol of the FBI. Without much other decoration, this isn't really doing wonders for the Iron Lady moniker hanging over her.
Oh?
Lenore was a
Really?
beat cop? Now this I'd like to have seen. Probably where she adopted that no-nonsense stare-down technique of hers. Alright. Oh? Is that what I think it is? Are those crime scene photographs? They sure are. Interesting.
Interesting.
Exactly. Seems like it's two different homicide victims. Something Lenore's investigating? Hold on. With her BSU connections, could this be one of those investigations? What does BSU stand for? I wonder if I can work anything out from them. Yeah, let's take a closer look. I mean, while I'm here waiting, I might as well see what I can see. Yeah, let's see if I get the same things wrong that I did last time. I wasn't exactly the smartest cookie. Pretty different scenes, at least at first glance.
It has to be.
So then, what is it that has Lenore looking over these two together? It must be... Well, they have to be connected. Somehow. The way the mud builds on the side and the width too. Something big and heavy made these tracks. A truck or a trailer, perhaps? The second shoe here is clearly hers. The cigarette butt's nearby too. Was her killer bold enough to hang around and admire what he'd done? You know, come to think of it, I do have my things with me here. I could just...
Well, we've come this far.
Well, might as well do it like I was trained. So then, what else can I make out from these? She was gagged, and with underwear too. Perhaps her own? This takes time and control. Very deliberate. Her posture here, it's awkward. I'm not sure she simply fell this way. For her legs to be open towards the road like that, it seems like she's being humiliated to me. Definitely some kind of abrasion here. I would assume some sort of restraint used. But then why remove one kind of restraint just to leave another? Now that's interesting. A handbag means identification, something the killer would normally like to delay. So then one has to wonder, what was the relationship between victim and killer here? Good question. So... only one shoe on. Could be that it fell off as she was dumped. And there's one more thing. Oh, her neck. There we go. Clear ligature mark. Strangulation is likely the cause of death.
That's that then.
I think that's the main points from this photo at least. Take a look at this one. Her face. The swelling and bruising on her face is really quite severe. Early onset too, so these occurred close to the time of her death. It's not quite easy to make out, but there's some kind of abrasions to the sides of her mouth. And that was a phone call. Anyway, the way the blood pooled too makes me wonder. Was something in place there earlier? I'm no expert, but this combination of clothes looks off. That's not to mention the undone button in the middle. Something's not right with this. Looks to be abrasions matching both arms. So she was restrained at some point then. Hard to tell from this, granted, but I'm fairly sure that's resting in neutral. Odd thing, isn't it, to be driving without shoes? But, this is interesting. Some kind of scratching on her soles? Her clothes, her wrists, and her neck. It's a strange shape, but I'm fairly sure this mark is from a ligature. Thick with a circular shape of some sort on the end. Despite the beating, I would think this was a strangulation that killed her. Okay, seems like that's everything. In light of all their details, I do wonder. There certainly are similarities, but are there enough? So then, care to tell me what you're thinking? Oh no.
Oh, well,
hey, ma'am, I was just,
Really?
You're Ward, aren't you? Desmond Ward?
right.
Right, yes, that's me, ma'am.
So then, Desmond, tell me.
I don't care much for repeating myself. Oh no, of course not. So Sorry, what was the question? The photographs, Desmond. What do you make of them? Is she mad at me for looking at them? I'm just gonna play along. I think you'd have to suggest there's at least cause for connecting them, right? You don't sound so certain. Are you asking me or telling me? Well, the thing is there are differences between them. It's certainly not clean cut.
Could it be?
But could it be? The similarities are there. It's hard to say, really. Hard to say if it's a serial murderer? This is the BSU, Desmond. You can use the term. It's a safe space. These serial killer profilers have been all the talk of the Bureau the last few years. An exciting new analytical approach to solving repeat offender murders. It's exactly what I've been trying to get time with anyone from the Behavioral Science Unit. Oh, there we go. BSU. Well, I was intrigued by this invitation. Only... I guess it's just that I'm not really trained on what this is about just yet. The programs here aren't big on profiling or serial homicide. Old dogs and new tricks, I'm afraid. I hear you majored in sociology, which will help some. A minor in psych too, yes?
Oh, well...
Oh, yes, ma'am. It was mostly introductory classes.
Really?
Introductory? Really? And your instructors tell me it was my lectures that had you interested in the BSU? What you said about offender behaviors and how we can interpret them to better understand crimes. I think this is the future of homicide investigation. To be able to find murderers just by thinking how they think. Something like that is key to my work as a future agent, ma'am.
There is more to it, though.
There's a little more to it than that. But I suppose as a concept, it's as good a starting point as any. Starting point? Just a little exercise of sorts. A case this unit just recently assisted on. If it's BSU experience you want, then come. Let's see what mind reading you're capable of. A case they're already finished with. She wanted me to find these photographs. This is some sort of, what, evaluation? Alright, okay, keep focused here. Keep focused here, Desmond. You've been waiting for a chance like this. Don't let yourself down now. Alright, let's see if I can be smarter this time. Or dumber. Dumber is also an option. So, the first thing you should know is that you'll largely process this like any other case you've trained with.
It's there in the evidence.
Start from the beginning, follow the evidence, and work the angles. That's the only way to understand the behaviors. And since you're already familiar with the two victims, we can jump straight in.
Oh?
Oh, well, I did have a little look. I think familiar might be a stretch, though.
Desmond.
Desmond, come now. This is all just logic. Look, I'll even start you off easy. Take the victim on the left. How would you have set about identifying her? Well, the handbag. Most likely. That'll be the easiest way to identify her. Surely with the handbag, right? Assuming there's a license or something similar. Good. See? It's not so hard. Like I said, as long as you follow the logic. With this left here, she was easily identified as a one Bonnie Hayes. Okay, so now we know her name. Miss Hayes' body was discovered not far from where she lived. A local found her on the shoulder of a back road. Our second victim on the right was found by deer hunters. The car she was in had been driven quite deep into a forest. She was identified through the car's registration as one Ida Rothermond, and also found not far from where she lived. One on the back road, the other inside a car in a forest, both close to their homes. Both late 20s, and importantly, no signs of a struggle around either body, which means these were likely not the primary crime scenes, the scenes of their murders, but rather the disposal sites. That's an important part of linking serial murder cases, isn't it? The way each body has been left behind?
Perhaps.
Perhaps, if similar enough. Since you have the urge to impress, then elaborate if you could.
Oh, well...
on linking the offender behaviors. I'm paraphrasing here, but the way an offender acts during that crime will reveal aspects of them as a person. The evidence they leave behind reveals the choices they made, and those choices tell us a lot. What they desired, or feared, hated. So, if crimes show repeated patterns of behavior, repeated signs of that same personality...
Not bad.
Then it could be a repeat offender, yes. Well then. I thought I said well done. What would you suggest here? Could we claim there were similarities in how the offender disposed of the victim? Well, they're pretty different.
Here's what I'm thinking.
Maybe they were both somewhat secluded, but is that enough? I would think they're actually quite different. In the forest, Ida's body is significantly more hidden.
There is more to it, though.
I would be inclined to agree with you, but there is also more to it than that. Why leave the bodies near their homes? Perhaps there's a repeated pattern here of fear or needing a quick disposal. That's true,
yeah,
so it's a
right.
start, but I guess we need more information, more context. Well, proximity must be a fairly large factor. How close are they to each other?
Now you're getting somewhere.
You're certainly asking the right questions. This is a minor thing. I love that her earrings are animated whenever she moves her head. Like, nobody would have batted an eye if you just, faded her into another pose. But the earrings moving really makes this come to life way more. Like, it's great secondary action for extremely limited movement. I love it. Miss Hayes was found close to Briar Hollow, an old and mostly defunct logging town on the northern outskirts of Cumberland. Miss Rothermond and her car were closer to Hickory Ridge, North Trenton, a fuel junction with a few residents, not much else.
In fact,
The thing is, both were found off of the same back road connecting the town to the fuel junction, barely 2 miles apart.
Oh?
But
Really?
then they must be connected. A small back road, 2 small populaces.
not quite, Desmond.
Don't get ahead of yourself, Desmond. This is about context, as you said, and we have good reason to believe the suspect pool could be significantly wider.
Let's see here.
Have a closer look at this, and keep in mind this is all about logical reasoning. What do you think is an indication of why this might not just be a local offender? Well, I would say her body position, because he mentioned that, like... See, I don't remember what I chose last time. I remember him saying that, like, she looks like she's been positioned in a way to humiliate her. So I'm gonna say body position.
Could it be?
Could it have been with this?
Are you sure about
I'm not quite sure where the logic lies in your thinking, but it's not the more obvious factor here. What I had in mind was... Oh, fuck. Yes. Damn it. What I had in mind was the tire tracks, Mr. Ward. What do they look like to you? A deep and wide impression? That means a truck. And if we're starting to look into truck drivers, then
but
we could be looking at anyone and everyone who took deliveries through the area. And when you consider the main highway passing through Hickory Ridge, that's not such a small pool of suspects after all. Yeah, I fucked that up. Okay. So then, where does that leave us? We've discussed 2 offender behaviors, body disposal and area of offenses. But that's simply not enough.
The evidence tells the
What
story.
we need to consider are all of the evident behaviors together before we can call this a series or not, so... You'll need this notebook. Go ahead, take a look so we can get started.
Desmond.
Don't get ahead of yourself, Desmond. The notebook, please. I've taken the liberty of simplifying the remaining identifiable behaviors down to these 5.
Let's see what you make of this.
From here, I'd like to see your ability to compare each, on your own.
Oh, well...
But hold on, overkill? Staging or posing? I'm not sure what you mean exactly.
Desmond.
Have a little courage, Desmond. If you want guidance on a term, let me know and I'll break it down for you.
Any evidence?
Otherwise, review the evidence. Think about what makes the most sense for each, then make your decisions. Reasonably decent, she says. How did I ever doubt myself? The North's a tough customer, but this is really it. A chance with the BSU.
Okay, Desmond. You can do
Let's
this.
not rush it, Desmond. Take your time. You don't want to fall at the starting line. Okay, let's have these defined. You don't have anything concrete on how either woman died, so use your best judgment here. Based on what can be seen, what would be the most likely reason each woman died? Restraints refers to basically anything used by the offender to limit the victim's physical abilities. Usually they restrict movements, but it can also be about minimizing the victim's ability to make noise. Whatever it was that the offender utilized in the act of murdering the victim is what we might want to consider specifically here. Signs of overkill. Generally speaking, force against the victim which wasn't necessary in actually causing the victim's death is known as overkill. Here, I'm particularly interested in indications of emotion from the offender, rather than a controlled attack. Staging or posing. Moving the body in some way after the murder, generally to misdirect investigators, is considered staging. If it's for some other personal reason of the offenders, though, perhaps as a symbol of ritual, then this is known as posing. Be careful not to confuse the two, Desmond. So, okay, let's see. She was gagged and with underwear too, perhaps her own. This takes time and control, very deliberate. Strangulation is likely the cause of death, and that's the same over here. No. Talking about her neck. Okay. So, definitely the same, similar cause of, whoops. Similar cause of death. Restraints utilized. They both have restraints on their wrists. There is, however, the fact that she's gagged with her own panties from the looks of it. Weapons utilized. Whatever it was that the offender utilized in the act of murdering the victim is what we want to consider specifically. So, it's a strange shape. Fairly sure this mark is from a ligature. Clear ligature mark. Strangulation is likely the cause of death. So, I guess we'd say that's similar. And we're not questioning whether or not there are signs of overkill, because there are here. She's been beaten. For some reason. And one has been staged while the other has been posed. The other way around. Staged, posed. Because this is sort of to make it look like she drove out here on her own. I'm gonna say no on these two, and then we'll see what happens. Let's see here.
Not quite.
Well, you're close. More than half are right by my count. Oh, push for another chance.
Well,
If it's all the same, I'd like to look over these again then. Go ahead. This is a learning process. I think this might be... Because, like... Gagging her... Let's try like this.
Not quite, Desmond.
More than half are right by my count.
well, I've come this far.
Signs of overkill. Oh, it's not similar, though. Staging or posing. I mean, they've both been staged or posed. But not in the same way.
Not quite, Desmond.
Fucking... Okay.
Well, I've come this far.
I mean, I'm not just gonna... You know, I'm not just gonna... brute force it, but... Similar cause of death, restraints utilized. Signs of overkill. Maybe like this?
Not quite.
Fucking
Desmond.
goddamn. Okay.
Well, I've come this far.
So one of these up here has to be wrong somehow. That looks thinner than that one. So maybe...
Not quite, Desmond.
Fucking goddamn. Okay. I am not sure at all.
Well, I've come this far.
Hold on. Cause of death is definitely similar. Restraints utilized, that has to be similar. I'm at a loss. It's not just all of them being right.
You can do better than that.
That's a little disappointing. If there was just one wrong, maybe two. Okay.
Well, I've come this far.
So when you say it's moving the body in some way after the murder, if it's for some personal reason of the offenders, perhaps as a symbol of ritual, be careful not to confuse the two. So she's not interested if they're different, and they definitely are different. Kind of scratching on her soles. Second shoe here is clearly hers. Cigarette butts nearby. Only one shoe on. I don't fucking know. I'm going with this.
Not quite, Desmond.
Let's hope it's not completely shit.
Oh, well...
I'd prefer not to make it a guessing game.
Maybe
It's time you show me a few pointers here. Good. Let's break this down then. First, cause of death. This is reasonably clear. Both victims have ligature marks along their necks.
In fact,
Strangulation is the most likely cause of death for both women, which in fact turned out to be the case. Okay. Now the restraints. Both women have clearly matching marks on the wrist from restraints, but not only that. The bruising around Ida's mouth, the way the blood is pulled on her face. It's subtle, but it's there. Both women were also gagged. Okay, I didn't connect that with gagging at all. I connected it with a beating. Weapons utilized. Now things get a little more interesting here. We know both were strangled, however. The impressions on each victim's neck, the ligature marks differ. Fuck! I said that earlier, man! Ah, right. And the strangulations, that is the weapon we're considering.
if that's the case...
Does this mean it was a different offender? Not necessarily, but even so, the change in the exact fit ligature is significant. Damn it. This can be a difficult one to an untrained eye, but you've done well.
In fact...
With Ida's bruising not having time to fully form, it must have occurred during the time of her death or just before. Was this violence used to control her? She was already restrained, so no, that's not likely. And since Bonnie had no such injuries, we simply can't discount this important difference. Okay. And lastly, staging or posing, another tricky one. Both bodies have in fact been repositioned. Bonnie was posed, positioned in a way to degrade and humiliate her. Ida, on the other hand, was not positioned in a way to present what the offender had done. Far from it, actually. Ida was in fact staged, repositioned in an attempt to deceive investigators.
The evidence tells
Remember, staging to deceive, posing for ritual or symbol. Seemingly similar, but in actuality, quite different. Okay, well, I got one wrong. And I was actually on track to have that one right. God damn it. I think this might be exactly what I did last time. So, there we have it. For your first foray into linkages,
Nicely deduced.
that was good work, Desmond. I'm impressed. So, the victims are restrained in similar ways, but we don't know if it was the same unique gag. Both are strangled, but with different ligature. Plus, all the differences in posing and staging.
I wonder.
They're on the same road, but with all this said, is that enough? A little more critical in your suspicions now, That's good. I like to see it. What we need is an aspect of the offender's behavior that is significant, something undeniably from the same person.
Let's see here.
Let's go back to what you just mentioned, the gag used against Bonnie. You described it as unique? Well, it's so deliberate. There are much easier ways to gag someone. He needs to go out of his way to do it.
Exactly.
Which means it likely fills an important need for the offender. He's driven to do it. So then, what if we can prove that this unique behavior, the same type of gag, was utilized during Ida's homicide?
Oh?
Oh,
Really?
but did I miss something? I didn't think I saw anything related to a gag. It's not always about what's seen, Desmond, but also what can be deduced.
So then, Desmond, tell me.
Think carefully. What will we need to examine here in order to know if Ida had the same gag as Bonnie? I mean, her clothes, they've definitely messed with her clothes. She's also not wearing shoes, like, there's still one on here. But, that could be part of trying to remove it. I'd say clothes.
Could it be?
I suppose, if Ida did have her underwear removed and used as a gag, then the logical thing to examine would be her clothes. The underwear would be missing, assuming the offender kept or disposed of them.
Not bad.
Either that, or they'd be back on her, which, as it turns out, was the case. The presence of blood and saliva on the underwear gave it away. It matched perfectly to the positioning as a gag.
Ah, okay.
Okay, I see. So he redressed her? I did think something was odd about her clothing. Yeah, he got a button wrong. Presumably part of his staging process.
Huh.
Right. Redressed her for the staging. The same back road, restraints, strangled, same unique gag.
If that's the case.
At this point, it's quite compelling. The behavioral links are difficult to deny. This is likely a repeat offender, and these two cases should be investigated with that close in mind. But then, despite the similarities, the victims are still so different. You know, all this time, it seemed like it was the differences that made this harder to investigate, but now I think it's exactly those differences that will help find the man who did it. Oh, how is that then? It's like you say, if you follow the logic of why he did what he did, it can only mean one thing. It can only mean that he was known to one victim much more than the other.
Perhaps.
Interesting. You have my undivided attention, Desmond.
Well,
you're in it now. I hope I'm right about this. The differences in crime scenes suggest the killer was known to... Fuck. Also, are we in the UK? The steering wheel is on the right. Well, we can't be, but that's a British car. What the hell? Unless it's just slightly wonky perspective. But I don't think it is. Huh. Well, whatever. We can't be in the UK. This is the FBI. What the hell am I talking about? Anyway, the differences in crime scenes suggest the killer was known to Bonnie or Ida. So, he stuck around and looked at his work with Bonnie. But with Ida, he had to, like, drive her out here. But she's also been positioned... Yeah, I think Bonnie.
Here's what I'm thinking.
The difference is the intentionality behind Bonnie's positioning. To be humiliated like that. Maybe if he knew Bonnie, this was revenge of some sort.
Are you sure about that?
But I do believe you're overlooked. Fuck! Did you forget the fact that there was no effort made to hide the identity of Bonnie? That's true.
Yeah.
Not particularly helpful for him if he was known as fuck. Yes. Damn it. Again, I think this is exactly the same mistake I made in the demo. The central need for a murderer connected to a victim is to obfuscate the connection. Bonnie was presented by him, like he wanted to show off what he'd done.
In fact.
He even left evidence of himself here. The 2 Windsor bulbs he smoked standing over her.
Yeah, that makes
Right,
sense.
he didn't care if she was found or even identified, because he knew it couldn't be traced. Ah, fuck. With Ida, though, everything we've discussed, it was about him distancing, the chance of being found out.
There is more to it, though.
Yes, and there's much more to be said on how he went about that. The staging that we've touched on. Here, let me see those notes of your Desmond. Perhaps you already noticed what I'm referring to.
Oh, well...
Notes? Well, I mean, I jotted a few things down, but I don't know if they're, you know...
Desmond.
Desmond, this playing coy is growing tiresome.
Right.
Yes, right. I'm going to say the fact that she's not wearing shoes. I mean, you know, it was rough practice more than anything else. It's not bad. You did at least pick up on 2 crucial details, so let's start with those. Don't be coy, she says. Here, hand me that notebook again. Questions, okay? Ida wasn't driving the car. Questions answered with facts from the crime scenes. This is the foundation of any investigation.
Let's see what you make of this.
From here on out, I'd like to see how you apply your own observations, your evidence to solve the questions we find.
It's there in the evidence.
Think on it. What are the 2 details you noticed that could infer she wasn't actually the one driving? I expect more thorough thinking here, no more potshots. Scratches on the soles of her feet, in the driver's seat without shoes. Yeah, that's definitely it. Thin ligature mark, resting in neutral. Thin abrasions matching both arms. Resting in neutral because she couldn't put the car in neutral if she was like driving and then died. Yeah. While certainly not definitive, the lack of shoes at the very least should be raising questions for an investigator.
Perhaps.
Perhaps she prefers driving barefoot, or perhaps she wasn't actually the one driving. Well spotted. To stage Ida in the driver's seat, we're clearly being led to believe she somehow drove herself here. If this were some sort of self-induced accident, though, then how did the shift come to be in neutral? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think they messed up the perspective of this car, because it really looks like the steering wheel is on the right. So, despite the fact that both of these aspects could potentially be explained, together they form one key suspicion. Did Ida really drive this car into the woods barefoot and have the capacity to put the car back into neutral afterwards? Right, but you seem to suggest there was something that I missed in my notes too. Yes, well, take a look at how Ida is positioned here, physically.
What do you think?
Doesn't something about it seem off to you? Make it highly unlikely she was driving? Yeah, she's like leaned back. Also, the seat is like pretty far back.
Ah.
Oh, right, I see it now.
I see.
It's where her seat is. It's so far back.
Not bad.
Not bad, Desmond. Better late than never. Once you notice how far back the seat is set, it's clear that Ida could not have comfortably driven this car.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Whoever was driving was tall then. Taller than Ida, at least. So the seat, the missing shoes, the car neutral. The offender at least attempted to stage this as, what, a car crash? Further proof that it was about him distancing himself. About him knowing one victim more than the other. That makes two established ideas. We have a repeat offender, and one that was known to Ida.
So then, Desmond, tell me.
Tell me, where are you going to start this investigation? Oh, me? Well...
Desmond,
really, we spoke about this.
Right.
Right, okay. The bottom line here is learning more about Ida. I would start by going back to her home, see what can be gathered from there.
why is that?
I'm curious, why do you think it is that you do that? Well, it was nearby. Could be something happened there. Or it's at least a starting point to learning about Ida. I'm not talking about the case, Desmond. I'm talking about you, this defensiveness. I'm sorry. I'm not sure. Follow, ma'am. You're shying away from taking the initiative, but not always. Why do you think that is? Does something in particular intimidate you, Mr. Ward? Yeah, you. Yes, by you. You know what? I'm going to be honest. If I'm honest, ma'am, I probably am intimidated. At least a little. It is, at times, hard to tell if you're, well, if I'm impressed. If you're disappointed. But believe me, I appreciate the opportunity and the challenge. I'm ready to step up to it, ma'am. Right, I see. Interesting. Step up, you say.
Back to it, Desmond.
Good. Back to it then. Only now, let's try with a little more independency. You said you wanted to visit her home, so let's start with that. This is Ida's home, at least the back half that makes up her bedroom.
Let's see what you make of this.
Without the hand-holding, this is your scene now. Okay, let's take a look. So in other words, the killing of Bonnie was likely impulsive, while this was planned. Well, sorry, I'm putting things down on my table. Let's look around. Items on the counter. Seems to be mostly cosmetic items. Quite a standard array. Humble even. But what's that? A radio? Seems like something is scratched on the side. I think I can just make that out. Fields. What does that mean? Well, I'm quite sure it's a handheld citizen band transceiver. That much I can tell. So what would Ida need a CB radio for? That's usually something for truckers. Huh. Oh dear. Okay. Looks to be fairly standard trash. Tissues, food, waste, bottles. There is a lot of it though. There's like 4 trash bags. I'm not sure if it's anything suspicious. Says more about how Ida lived, I suppose. Irma Lockett's Pies, Johnny's Pizza, a soda bottle. Seems cheap and easy, trumps nutrition. Yeah, that drawer is open. The way some of these drawers have been pulled out, seems like someone was going through them in a hurry. Was someone looking for something? Could this have been a robbery? The demo ended here, by the way, so we're in completely new territory now. Garbage on the floor. Okay, seems like that's all there is to see here. Try this one. At first I wondered if there might be evidence of blood or cleaning up here, but no. Just a few toothbrushes and nothing else, really. 3 toothbrushes. Ah, okay. Which suggests 3 people living in her home. Hard to make out if there's anything useful there or not, but... Hold on, is that... In this bin, is that a newspaper? Did it have a date?
Not bad.
Good eye. It is, and that was a particularly important item. The last reported sighting of Ida was the same as this date on the paper. It was in the early hours of the very next morning that her body was then found in her car.
Okay.
Right, okay, so not a big window of time here. Ida was at home then, at least at some point during the day she was murdered.
Exactly.
It would seem so. Particularly when you take into account what else was left behind. On top of the paper were 2 used condoms, and a few tissues to go with them. Oh boy. Then
Really?
that could even be the offender's blood type on record. More. If you count the other condoms of a different blood type underneath the newspaper. Okay, good to know. That's multiple partners then. At least one had to have been there on the day she went missing, though. But who... The trucker. Okay, so... She's sexually active with more than one partner. Could suggest prostitution, given that this is obviously profiling and stereotypes, but given what we see of the messy home, what little we saw of the introduction with her child acting fairly rural, it's a possibility, but I'm not ruling that. Or she could just, you know, like to have sex with different people. That happens too. Those scratches in the carpet, those are real deep. They seem to radiate from the same spot too. From exactly the same point where the stain is actually. What is that? Deep scratches radiating out from bright stain. Could that be her heel? Like heels on her shoes? Fairly standard trash. Okay. Bedside table. A blank notepad, an empty jar, and an ashtray. I'm pretty sure that the logo on the lighter is a car rental brand, actually. I'm just wondering, with these cigarettes, do we know if they were all Ida's? Anything forensics could pull? Are they the same brand as what we saw with Bonnie? These butts rarely retain any prints or even traceable blood types, which was the case here too. What I can tell you for what it's worth is that they were all Red Valley. Shit.
Huh.
Good to know. Only the one brand. Alright, so she's brand loyal to whatever she smokes. Bit of an odd setup. Bare mattress, mismatching pillow and blanket. A lack of upkeep. There's no linen. That's just a bare mattress. Yeah. Huh. Okay, that's interesting. Looks like someone took out the picture inside. The frame's been dumped unceremoniously. Actually, that seems to be everything here. This might be a cheating situation. But that doesn't explain the fact that this person killed 2 women. Actually, that seems to be everything here, at least from what I can make out. But Lenore wants to see initiative, huh? Well, I suppose if nothing else, this does leave me wondering. Is the stain related to Ida's murder? Proof Ida was attacked in her home? Was Ida robbed? Not bad. A few different angles there, and quite the story between them. I imagine you'll be needing these then. Oh, okay. Oh,
Oh?
hold on. There's the third photograph here. Yes, well, I held back on this earlier to focus on linkages. Far from the last of the evidence to be introduced, too. From here on, I'll reveal the rest as you would have normally found them working on the case. Just so you know. What you see here is the backseat of Ida's car, just as it was found along with her body. Remember, Desmond? The devil is in the detail. Keep up this momentum now. Okay, so there's a jug, an opaque container of some sort. Toxic, going by what I can see on the label. It seems to have a white colored residue around the lid, some kind of detergent. It could be bleach. Trying to get rid of the stain on the carpet and failing. Seems like an old sheet of some kind. There's a lot of it bundled up down there. Could that be the bed linen? Okay, various loose clothes. Jeans and a mix of shirts mostly. One seems to be labeled with a faded company logo. Wilbur is all I can make out though. There's quite a lot though. Would Ida have worn these? Carried them around in her car like that? Not likely. Oh, loose clothes. No, shit. I'm missing something. Notebook. There it is. What is this there? A notebook? Do we know what was written inside?
In fact,
Well, at the time of finding it, what it was used for was unclear. The book was quite new and entirely blank. That is, at least for the pages that weren't torn out. There was one missing.
Oh, I see.
I see. Was it recovered then? The missing page? Not exactly, no. Not exactly? What does that mean? Okay then. Proof Ida was attacked. Is the stain related to Ida's murder? Proof Ida was attacked in her home. Was Ida robbed? I would say that the jug... Nicely done, Desmond. The presence of the stain at the home and the bottle here should certainly be raising flags. The stain was indeed caused by bleach, which was exactly what this bottle contained. Hell yeah. So he tried to cover his tracks and failed miserably, from the looks of it. Let's hold that thought. Look into your other questions first. The implications of all three together should be interesting.
back to it, Desmond.
Back to it, Desmond. Yep. Was Ida robbed? I'm gonna say no. Because... blank notepad, empty glass jar, ashtray, Red Valley Buds, lighter with a rental logo. Cosmetic product, CB radio, drawers. Was Ida robbed? Photo frame. Let's see here. We don't care about Bonnie right now. Her face, her clothes, her wrists, shift lever, her feet, scratches the soles, in the driver's seat without shoes, thin ligature mark, opaque container labeled toxic, bundled in backseat footwell, mix of jeans and shirts, company shirts, partial Wilbur label. Proof Ida was attacked in her home. Was Ida robbed? I don't quite understand the was Ida robbed question. Because, like, he definitely went through her stuff. Yeah, okay. Was Ida robbed? Blank notepad, empty glass jar. Newspaper dated, Ida missing. 2 used condoms on top, more underneath, not matching. 3 toothbrushes, right side all open. Yes. Oh, what was likely taken from Ida's home and from where? Something in the drawer, definitely, and the photo. It did make me consider robbery, particularly with the way the drawers on the right are pulled out like that. Interesting too, there was only one end of the drawers, like they knew what they were after.
Are you sure about that?
I'm not quite sure what you have in mind here, but I'd suggest it isn't the clearest evidence we have. Shit.
Back to it, Desmond.
Not quite. Look over the evidence again. See if you can spot what you've missed here. Okay, so that's not it. Empty glass jar. Ashtray, Red Valley Butts. Blank notepad. So not the bare mattress? Wait, how do I... Oh, okay. Well, definitely the drawers, but... Let's try.
Are you sure about that?
What? Wait, what?
Back to it, Desmond.
Oh shit! I was okay. Wrong category. That's my bad. Was I robbed? How do I remove it? How do I remove it? Oh, there we go. Uh-huh. An interesting observation. This does indeed relate to things taken from Ida's home, actually. But the context of how it was moved was more complex. It wasn't robbed from Ida, as this question aims to answer. Fuck!
Back to it, Desmond.
What the hell, then? Okay, was Ida... proof Ida was attacked in her home. Definitely the carpet. Because those scratches on the carpet. Hold on. Let me look at this more clearly. Can I see the pictures of her home, please? Photo frame, garbage on the floor. What about the glass jar? The glass jar could be a change jar. We've already done this one.
Are you sure about
Fuck! What the hell?
Back to it, Desmond.
Like, I'm trying everything. What the fuck? Oh, the bedside table. I fucked up. Okay. I picked the wrong one. Okay. Let's see.
Bad.
Not bad. The empty jar certainly suggests something may have been taken from Ida. Without more context, though, I think we should revisit this another time. Fuck off! God damn it! Everything I pick, she's like, yeah, I understand where you're going, but fuck you anyway. Like, God damn it! Okay, proof Ida was attacked in her home. Definitely the home carpet. Empty backing removed. Bare mattress, pillow and blanket mismatched. Blank notepad, empty glass jar. The bin, sink. Right side all open. General waste in bags, cheap food. I mean, we could say the CB radio, because that relates to our trucker theory. These deep scratches are perhaps the clearest indicator of a struggle at Ida's home, yes. Now, whether the scratches happened as a result of this attack, we can't say. Not with this evidence alone.
Are you sure about that?
God fucking damn it!
Desmond.
God, that's annoying. Okay, what the hell am I missing? What was likely taken from Ida's home and from where? We've already been through the counters. It can't be the radio because he left the radio. I mean, I already tried this one, didn't I? Man, I wish it would skip the one you already got right. Oh, fuck.
Back to it, Desmond.
What is it? I'm going nuts. Assuming it's the sheet. That's the linen from the bed.
Back to it.
Jesus Christ! What the fuck is it? I mean, it has to be the jug, right? Because the jug is in the car?
Are you sure about that?
Jesus!
Back to it, Desmond.
What logic do you want here? Everything I'm saying makes sense for the case. What extremely fucking hyper-specific thing do you want from me right now? I mean, then will be the scratches on her feet, because they match with the carpet. But I'm just...
Exactly.
Yep, okay, so that was it. Okay, that makes sense. But I was focusing on, like, the new evidence. I'm not saying I'm smarter or anything. I'm just saying that there's a reason I couldn't figure that out. These grazes to the underside of her feet are certainly evidence of her struggle against the attack on her. Of everything that happened to Ida, this is indeed the injury that can be linked to her trailer. Okay, cool. Was Ida robbed? Compelling, isn't it? We both know that this evidence is pointing to, but I wonder if it's enough. Again, let's hold that thought. One more question now. I mean, the notebook? Seeing as this notebook has been tampered with, it suggests there was something inside it that someone didn't want seen.
Not bad.
Okay. Not bad. That's good logic. It very well might have been, and we'll get to that. For now, though, something else warrants discussions. Fuck!
To it, Desmond.
I'm going insane. I have no fucking clue. I guess the clothes? On their own in the car, they just give Ida the appearance of being untidy or messy, but paired with the details of Ida's home, perhaps there's a more likely reason for their presence. Oh, it's what he took from the drawer. But they looked so much like a trucker's clothes. Of course, it could be there are 3 toothbrushes, so maybe she has a live-in partner. A husband. Father to her child, most likely. So it could be planted there to throw suspicion on him. Men's clothes in the car, empty drawers in the home. Curious, isn't it? Okay, I'm an idiot. I mean, I'm learning, but I'm an idiot. I'd say it's reasonable to suggest they were taken, but of all the things to take... Well, let me put it this way. How does it fit with what we already know? Particularly when you consider this. What if I were to say there were no signs of forced entry in Ida's home?
If that's the case.
If that's the case, how does that add up with a robbery? Doesn't that complicate things? No signs of break-in. Does this complicate what we theorized? No, it still fits.
Yeah, that makes
Yeah, that
sense.
makes sense, actually. If you look at what we've already established, we've deduced that the murderer was known to Ida, so really he wouldn't have needed to break in.
Exactly.
Because she would have likely invited him in. Good, then at least you're staying on top of your own story. With that said, why would this robbery have even happened? I would suppose he just didn't want them found, at least not in Ida's home.
Could be.
This is the murderer continuing to hide his connection to her, isn't it? These clothes belong to him. Perhaps. Ida was at least close enough to someone they had space for their own clothes. Right, exactly, only something isn't adding up here. If he wanted to hide these from being seen, this doesn't really make sense. Why leave the clothes in the car? To be found with the body and help investigators right to him.
There is more to it, though.
Ah, yes, that would bring us back to the deer hunters who found the car. You see, it was the sound of a car being driven into the woods that drew their attention in the first place. Hold on, if they were that quick to the car, they didn't just find Ida, they interrupted her murderer. Precisely. The car was stuck in an underbrush only a dozen feet or so from the drop into a river below. Fuck, I can't read.
Of course.
Of course, Ida's in the driver's seat, the shift lever neutral. He meant to run the car into the river, along with the evidence inside.
Perhaps.
Perhaps in the hopes that they would be washed away, or perhaps he intended to take them with him. Whatever the intention might have been, things didn't quite go to plan. That much seems clear.
Now you're getting somewhere.
We have 3 fairly critical points about the relevance of Ida's home in this, so now seems a good time to take stock. Torn carpet, torn feet, a bleach stain by the tears, and the bleach in her car with her body, along with clothes stolen from her home.
If that's the case.
If that's the case, what exactly happened here? Care to explain what the narrative is? What do you think the narrative is? Well, at the very least, Ida had a violent struggle next to her bed, and something was cleaned up from the carpet. What exactly was cleaned, we can't say. Not yet, but together with the scratches, the way Ida was murdered. This is it, isn't it? The primary crime scene. This is where Ida was strangled. So it's piss.
Perhaps.
Perhaps it's a convincing story, but alone it could also be argued as circumstantial. Remember, Desmond, this needs to hold up in court. Who's to say when the scratches or stain occurred? So, are you sure you aren't missing anything? What else could support this as the primary crime scene?
Right.
Missing? Right, okay, well. We know the offender drove Ida's car. Since she's already dead, he wouldn't risk driving too far. Sure enough, the car's found close to her home, the bleach, the stolen clothes, and it's him to drive it all into the river.
You can do better than that.
Sure, all valid points, but still circumstantial. The stolen clothes, the carpet, all of it can be debated. It lacks something definitive. What about what's right in front of you? Proof from the victim herself. You were close to noticing already. Very close. In fact, you took notes on the very detail I have in mind when you observed Ida. So think carefully. What observations did you make? Which detail could help deduce that she was previously at her home? Face, her neck, her clothes, her wrists. I mean, if he murdered her in her home, if it was like an act of passion in that moment, like violently, then he wouldn't have restrained her. He wouldn't have restrained her after the fact, and that definitely wouldn't leave these kinds of marks. But if he broke in, restrained her, searched the house, and then murdered her, I'm gonna try the wrists.
Could it be?
Could have been with this? Nope, I got it wrong.
Really?
If we're talking about what links Ida to her home from this, I can't really fathom how it fits. I meant the note she took on Ida's clothes, that they appeared off, correct? A subtle but significant impression. In fact, her own mother stated that these are clothes for church that she'd gifted her, and Ida swore she'd never wear them. Huh, so Ida's murderer chose these for her. He wanted her to, what, look more formal, respectable?
Intriguing.
Intriguing. And where else would she keep clothes she owned but didn't normally wear? Her home. It's at least a start to tying this narrative together more convincingly, but there's one last piece to this puzzle. The sheet here, in the footwell of the back seat, not much to make of it, right? Only thing is that's far from the truth, and it's got everything to do with a small trace of Ida's blood found on it.
Oh?
Really? Ida's blood? From the murder? Well, it was only a small amount. Keep that in mind. But with supporting evidence, yes, it can be linked to her murder. Significance of the sheet in the car. Proving a struggle in the home is one thing, proving her disposal another. It's the between, though, that makes this whole story whole. You're making some good calls, but mostly the attention to detail has still been shaky. Let's get this back on track. What evidence can be tied to the sheet in Ida's car with her blood on it? Ooh, this is going into some terrible territory. I'm actually gonna say the condoms. What evidence can be tied to the sheet in Ida's car with her blood on it? Let's try it.
Are you sure about that?
Really? The missing sheet seemed rather innocuous, actually, but if this came from Ida's bed... Some digging revealed the pillowcases on Ida's bed were sold exclusively as a combined set with the specific sheet. Further blanket fibers on the sheet forensically sealed it. There's no doubt that this did, in fact, come from Ida's bed.
Back to it, Desmond.
Not quite. Okay, so what the fuck? I thought the implication was that he raped her. Like, tied her to the bed and raped her. Of course, then that doesn't make sense. Why would he put on condoms for that? Fair enough. I'm a dummy. What evidence can be tied to the sheet in Ida's car with her blood on it? Bare mattress, pillow and blanket unmatched. Yeah, I'm still learning to think like an investigator here. I never claimed I was smart, man. 2 used condoms, the sink, 3 toothbrushes, right side all open. Cosmetic products. Severe bruising near time of death. Dried nosebleed. I mean, that could be it. The only injury I can make out from the scene that could have caused this is Ida's face. Makes you wonder, if this was a match to Ida, what does that mean for the stain? How might that relate to all of this? Did he beat her? The missing sheet seemed rather innocuous. Yeah, okay, we already did this. So it's not enough to just stick with the game notes. You actually have to keep some notes in mind for yourself. Nicely deduced, Desmond, despite, fucking around for a while there. Based on blood type and the pattern and position of the stain, forensics made the same assessment. Ida had most certainly been covered by this sheet. Oh, okay. How the fuck was I supposed to... Alright. And considering where it came from... Yeah, I see what you mean by now. It all makes sense. I mean, they did say a small amount, so... The bleeding on the sheet means Ida sustained those injuries near the time it was wrapped around her, before the blood dried. Since we know these injuries also happened at the time of her strangulation, with the bruises still forming, it all comes together. This was about moving Ida's body from her home to her car. And the primary crime scene, the scene of Ida's murder, has to have been the bedroom. There's no doubting it now. Well, I have to say, if I'm making calls on where to go with this, I think the focus seems relatively simple. Oh? Simple, you say?
It has to be.
It has to be the trust from Ida. Oh, it has to be. The trust from Ida, the redressing, the stolen clothes, the secretive nature of it all. It's all pointing in one direction. The offender must have been a live-in partner of Ida's, or her lover, her side piece. I think that's more likely. It's a compelling angle. A romantic partner is by far the most likely to commit a murder with a personal angle such as this.
Are you sure about
But Desmond, are you sure about that? The clothes on their own aren't that convincing, really. And you've seen how quickly things can change already. Take these drawers, for example. The clothes drawers and the implication of what's inside them. They were clothes for an adult female, unsurprisingly, but there were also clothes for a young juvenile. Oh, Ida was a mother. But then, where was the child in all of this? They weren't also... Well, Ida's home was found empty. At this point, the boy's welfare was a complete unknown. Further investigation confirmed that Ida had a son of 8, James. His records were sparse, though, with neither father nor family listed. Right, this wasn't just a homicide then, a missing child. That changes things. It does, yes. It's got to do with why the FBI became involved, for one. Before the linkages to serial murder even came to light. My point is, there's a lot still to wrap our heads around here. So think carefully about this, about the case priorities. What's next, Desmond? with everything you've learned, where do you allocate your limited resources as an investigator? Okay, I'm not going to jump the gun here, but as far as I can tell, there's only 3 main directions. Look into this boyfriend, look more into Ida, or see where I can find the boy, James. So which is it?
Here's what I'm thinking.
Considering the offender was known to her, I think the only way we're going to grow our leads is to look more closely into Ida herself. Talk to people that knew her, look into her daily life and routines. That's how we learn more about who could have done this.
Exactly.
Exactly right. As we've said this entire time, it's that connection to Ida that is paramount. Where we'll learn more about the boy, too.
Right.
Right, so who did she typically interact with? Who had the opportunity to be invited in like that? And where might James be? In other words, the victimology. Your notebook, if you would. Victimology. Occupation, relationships, type of household, neighborhood dynamics. Okay. As before, I've narrowed this list of categories down that's relevant to the information you'll be able to find. That seemed like an oddly placed period, but okay. So then Desmond, tell me, where do you find this information? A little of this I can work out with what we have, but mostly it's quite personal. Her occupation, relationships. I want to talk to friends or family, check her records, or next of kin, perhaps. And then there's neighbors. What they know about her, what they might have seen.
Not bad.
Not bad. Good, then let's just do that. Here we have the statements from the investigation. We'll focus for now on 2 key interviews taken in initial canvassing. The next of kin was Lillian Rothermond, Ida's mother, living in a small town just a few miles out. As it turned out, she was the only family Ida was in contact with. It seemed our victim was rather insular, actually. The second was indeed a neighbor. You might recall Ida lived at by a fuel junction, so it was just the one, at Dale Fields. Retired, mid-60s, lived in a trailer barely 100 feet from Ida's. Some of this is reading between the lines. Some, like you said, is from other evidence. I'm sure you can work this out. Okay, I would love to see the statements. Lillian Rothermond. She'd come around that morning, so I'd mind the boy. We ain't seen one another in a while, but we's making amends, or trying to. I'd asked her if it's for blasphemous work, you see. Yep, okay. That she'd come by, and she knows I ain't supporting it. She don't say nothing. So I says no, I ain't participating in it no more. Then I ain't ever seen her again. Lord forgive me. Ida visited her the morning of the murder, making amends, refused to mind James' blasphemous work. Yes. There's always someone cut from the same sorry cloth. She ain't ever tell me nothing, but I seen him round. I know that boy's daddy got run from the mines for being a good-for-nothing. That's about all I know. About all I need to know. Didn't know names. James' father was fired from mining job. Okay, let's see what Dale has to say. I'd seen a black car that day, out front of her place. Boxy Ford type. A bit unusual. Mostly they just walk over from the gas and go. Them trucking men. Strange place too, like a company car, maybe? I ain't but seen that, then got about my day. Didn't think to look again after. Well, I started out hauling timber from Briar Way. It was just easier being here. Then I hung that up, and then Ida'd come. It was just us, so we's lent and stuff, you know? Odd jobs. Looking out for one another like that. Okay. Saw black car with strange plates. Truckers walked to Ida's from gas and go. Used to haul timber from Briar Hollow. Only he and Ida lived there and helped each other. Okay. So, the victimology, occupation, evidence of Ida's typical daily work. Truckers walk to Ida's from gas and go. Yep, she's definitely a prostitute. Ida's mother seems to be particularly upset when speaking about Ida's work. For it to offend someone who's religious like Lillian, well, it does help give a little more context as to what that work could be. The mention of the rental car is certainly interesting. Who that might be is something we will want to dig into. But it's what he's insinuating here. The truckers coming in from the gas and go. If that's a regular occurrence, A disapproving religious mother, truckers visiting her home from the nearby truck stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems to me like it's most likely one of two occupations. Drug dealing or sex work.
If that's the case,
If that's the case, the pool of potential suspects just got much wider. Almost everything, in fact, may need re-evaluating. Right, the offender might not have forced his way inside, but he might not have been that well known to her either. Whichever line of work it is, there's no denying that what they both mean. These are occupations exposed to danger. Well, allusion to Ida's work there in the evidence. You just needed these statements for context. Here. Albeit far from definitive, we do have indications right here as to what Ida's work at least likely was. Consider what you've learned. Add everything up. What makes logical sense? Well, the condoms. I guess if I had to, I'd lean to Ida being a sex worker. As you said, not exactly definitive proof, but the bin with the used condoms comes to mind. Then the numerous tissues, numerous cigarettes, jar for payments. They do speak to a commonality, I suppose.
not bad.
Not bad. Most of these commonalities do still function with dealing, but not all. Educated guesswork, but even so. At times you'll need that to get your nose on the right trail, so to speak, and onto better evidence. Work from finishing the rest of the victimology, and we'll circle back to see just where it did lead. Okay. Relationships. Evidence of a relationship between Ida and anyone outside of her immediate family. Well, they didn't know names. Anyone outside of her immediate family. Okay. But we know Dale feels living there. Type of household. What do we know about how Ida kept her home? Well, we know she didn't. Because it was... boom, boom, boom. Garbage on the floor. General waste in bags. Yep. The garbage doesn't seem connected with her murder. I would think this was normal for her, to let it pile up on the floor like this. So if this is typical of how she lived, it at least suggests a daily struggle, perhaps, with poverty or mental health. Which may not appear directly relevant to a murder investigation, but you'd be surprised. Context can be everything to solving an investigation. By the end of this, the relevance will be more apparent. What do we know about the people or activities in Ida's neighborhood? Well, whoops. Damn it. We know that it's very local. People help each other out. Only he and Ida live there and help each other. So it's very remote. With no one else living in the area, we really just have to take Dale at his word here, don't we? He certainly paints a picture of an amicable friendship. Problem is, there's no one to dispute it. That may not be exactly true. There's still one person who could certainly speak for that. Assuming they're still alive, that is. Evidence of a relationship between Ida and anyone outside her immediate family. Didn't know James. Oh, didn't know names. James' father was fired from mining job. Saw a black car with strange place. Truckers walked to Ida from Gas and Go. Well, that means at least someone there knows her. The visitor in the black car? A very interesting lead, but an indication of a relationship? That's a bit of a stretch. Okay, so that was wrong.
You can do better than that.
Shit! Okay, so both of these are wrong. Evidence of a relationship between Ida and anyone outside her immediate family. Alright, let's look at her home. Definitely the radio, obviously. Duh, I'm an idiot. Cheap food from Johnny's Pizza and Irma's Bucket Pies. 3 toothbrushes. I mean... Hold on. Didn't know names. James' father was fired from mining job. Ida visited the morning of murder, making amends. We don't know if she has like a live-in partner. We know she does sex work, but there are 3 toothbrushes. I'm gonna go with the toothbrushes for now.
Are you sure about that?
Fuck! Come on! The fucking radio! A subtle detail, but the toothbrush is here. There's Ida and her son, that's 2. So then why the 3rd? Someone who's there overnight often enough to have their own. I mean, it could be a backup.
Back to it, Desmond.
Not quite. Look over the evidence again. Yeah, okay. So that one was wrong. Light up with a car rental logo. The photo? Maybe? Like... So far we've seen an offender who's been cautious and careful. A photo frame left open and emptied like that. To me that suggests more covering up. Why take a photo other than to hide a relationship? Yeah, exactly. And we've already been through this one. These were particularly subtle details. I'm impressed. Again, except for the part where you fucked around for a while. So to add to the stolen clothes, we now have a missing framed photo and an extra toothbrush. Surely it has to be... It is compelling, I agree. It was highly likely Ida had a live-in partner. All we have to do now is find out who. Okay, well since that rounds out the last of the victimology questions, where does that leave us? Ida's line of work is certainly intriguing. Finding out about who might have visited her seems a high priority. Plus the fact that Ida was rather isolated with the neighbor, Dale. He has to at least be a person of interest in this. But the thing is, none of that might even matter. The indication of a live-in partner, the tampering of evidence related to that... Desmond? As long as you have unanswered questions about the case, all of your leads and angles most certainly matter. And it sounds to me like you have quite the number of questions to start working, don't you?
Right.
Right, of course. Let's see here then. Proof of Dale's sighting. More on Dale Fields. How to find Ida's partner. 2 out of 3 on Dale?
Why is that?
Why is that? You seem to be concentrating quite a bit on the neighbor here. Well, first of all, I'm sure I've spotted indications of him in Ida's home. Innocent, perhaps, but when you consider Dale's account of the rental car, if it checks out, that's a good lead. If it doesn't, Dale's misdirecting. Yes, true, but if we're wanting more on the men Ida was seeing, then there's something you're overseeing.
So then, Desmond, tell me.
Where else are we likely to learn more about Ida's work and her clients? Nearby truck stop. I'd start at the gas and go. Regardless of what the work is exactly, that's where the clients are coming from.
Not bad.
Not bad. Intimate knowledge of the work, insider knowledge, is exactly what we need more of. And we have the source of it. By canvassing the gas and go fuel station near Ida, investigators managed to find Cheryl, a work acquaintance of Ida's. She said Ida did in fact engage in sex work out of the gas and go, only recently changing to meeting clients at her own home instead. Yep, that's what you never do. For one, she lacked help with her son. But according to Cheryl, Ida had also been scared off by the murder of a colleague, Bonnie. Bonnie? 2 victims working out of the same highway station then. Yet another linkage. If that's the case, this says a lot about his victim selection. That is, specificity. Familiarity with the station even.
Perhaps.
Perhaps. Cheryl couldn't name any one suspect herself and was only relatively friendly with Ida, but her insights were still valuable. Details more personal to Ida, they came with some luck from another source altogether. A notepad.
Oh?
A notepad? Hold on. You must mean this, right? The blank notepad from Ida's bedroom. Blank to the naked eye, perhaps, but oh, did they do the pencil thing? Once FBI were involved, we were able to get this. An impression of what was last written, the indentations made into the paper. Yes. Okay, intriguing. This is, what, a list? A schedule?
What do you think?
What do you think? It's about time you get to figuring that out, I'd say. Between this and the statements from Cheryl, you have a lot to think about. Enough, in fact, to start pulling in potential suspects. Some critical steps here, so don't lose focus now. Okay, let me see the questions. Proof on Dale's sighting. Proof that Dale really saw someone visiting Ida. Evidence on Dale's involvement with Ida. How to find Ida's partner. Well, hold on. Let me just get some statements from Cheryl here. Yeah, well, she still come by, picking up whatever from the gas and go. Say hi, you know, small talk really. But even when she got down from her home, it was like she was always working. Always getting out of here. Jesus. Keep it all in this little jar under the bed, along with her drugs. We're no safe place for neither. Not with these types. Partners? Like boyfriend? I don't know nothing about that. I think she kept company. I don't know, really. What I can tell y'all is that she'd had her regulars. Them's what still come by hers once she stopped coming here. But yeah, we still talk tricks. The handles that them truckers used. All code-like sort of thing. You share 'em around. What they like, so they pays more. Tying or being tied. Who's the good ones, you know, who's the bad. Ah. Well then. Okay. Let me see the questions again. Morndale Fields. Evidence of Dale's involvement with Ida. Well. Where is the notepad? 3 toothbrushes. Blank notepad. Well, we know the notepad isn't blank anymore. Okay, so blank notepad, definitely. Evidence of Dale's involvement with Ida. I mean, I don't think that's enough, but...
Are you sure about that?
What the fuck?
You can
We literally just got a fucking note that has his initials on it!
back to it, Desmond.
How the hell is that not You motherfucker. Alright, this is definitely the mom. Statements. Refused to mind James' blasphemous work. Didn't know names. But she does know he had a mining job that he was fired from, so we can figure that out. There are mines nearby, and he was fired. Saw a black car with strange plates. Truckers walked to Ida's from Gas and Go. Used to haul timber from Briar Hollow, which is nearby. Only he and Ida lived there, help each other. Ida saving to move. Ida kept money and drugs in jar under bed. Ida had regulars, talked tricks, info and truckers with Ida. Proof that Dale really saw someone visiting Ida. Well, she had regulars, so...
Are you sure about that?
Jesus Christ.
Back to it, Desmond.
Am I stupid? Am I just the dumbest motherfucker that ever tried to look at a murder case? Used to haul timber. Proof that Dale really saw someone visiting. Oh, right. She,
Are you sure about that?
Fucking, she went to her mom to have him looked after. Wouldn't that be proof that someone... Well, it doesn't prove that Dale saw it, I guess. Son of a bitch. I suck at this. What information will help us find out who Ida's live-in partner was? I mean, her and Cheryl talk tricks, I guess. Info on truckers. But I don't think that's it. At this point, Lillian brings up about James' father being fired from the work in the mines. It's not great, but as far as ways to identify anyone Ida might have dated, this might be the best we'd have. It doesn't seem like much to go by, no. Considering how it relates to evidence more directly involved with the crime, though.
Are you sure about
Son
that?
of a bitch.
Back to it, Desmond.
Alright, I'm a fucking idiot. I mean, oh, the clothes on the back of the car. Durr. The fucking company logo. Ah, right. If we're to assume these clothes were those of Ida's partner, then this could be helpful. One of the shirts bear the partial logo for Wilbur. If it's where he works, or once worked, we'll at least help narrow things down. Yes. Okay. I need to stop being stupid.
Nicely deduced.
Nicely deduced, Desmond. It was a long shot, but it worked. In Culditch Creek, an hour east of Ida, was Wilbur Cole. A small operation in a declining mining town. The company had seen numerous layoffs over recent years, just as Lillian suggested. There were dozens of names to sift through, a needle in a haystack. However, one did happen to stand out. Gary Warren. Okay. As luck would have it, one had registered James, Ida's son, as dependent family. Gary Warren, resident of College Creek.
Oh?
Oh, really?
Really?
But why? I mean, if he himself isn't in James' records. As strange as they may have been, this at least allowed the boy health coverage. Gary admitted to as much himself. Right, okay. Well, that's all well and good, but doesn't this all just suggest he was James' biological father? Don't forget, the clothes in the car, clothes that can't be directly tied to Gary, were taken out of Ida's home.
Right.
Right, of course. A move which seemed to be a means of protecting his identity from the investigation. Yes, seemed to be. Because on the other hand, you're really quite right in second-guessing their relationship as currents. His statements, as you'll see, do make things a little more complicated. You'll have the opportunity to challenge his alibi, you can be sure of that. In the meantime, though, there's still information here on 2 potential suspects. It's a good lead to have, but now's not the time to put blinders on. Oh, do we not have statements from Gary? Okay. I mean, the photo, maybe? Like, if that was a photo of him? I don't know. The condoms? Sure, it would certainly set up quite the case against him if he was proven to be with Ida in that capacity. A good idea, Desmond, but no. The condoms could not be forensically matched to him. Swing and a miss on this one.
You can do better than that.
Yep. God damn it.
Back to it, Desmond.
What the fuck, then? I'm genuinely at a loss. None of this seems to be relevant at all. What? Hold up. What do you mean 9 out of 10? Having this lifted by FBI. Oh, fucking hell, because I was supposed to... Okay. There's no reason that wasn't just locked on its own. Like, right when they revealed it. That should have just been locked there, so I didn't have to go look at it for myself. Having this lifted by FBI from Ida's blank notepad is pretty big, particularly when you consider these were likely some of her final notations. Let's see here. James to Ma. That's at least the less cryptic of the 3. The other 2, GC11 and DF15. What could that mean? The latter being circled, too. Well, that's definitely Dale. Okay, here we go. So, let's get the questions back up. Proof that Dale really saw someone visiting Ida. More on Dale Fields. We have everything else. Proof that Dale really saw someone visiting Ida. He's been by her house that day.
Are you sure
Nope.
about that?
Okay.
Back to
Fair
it,
enough.
Desmond.
That would require him to stay around for long enough. Or go there early enough to see them, though. So, maybe not. More Dale Fields. Evidence of Dale's involvement with Ida. Definitely the home indentations. We know that. I guess the fact that she had regulars. Whether this was a schedule or a list, the point is these represent something immediately relevant to Ida on that day. And even without knowing what it means, it's hard to ignore the fact that DF matches with the initials of her one and only neighbor.
Are you sure about that?
Okay.
Back to it, Desmond.
We can try the notebook, but I don't think so.
Are you sure
Nope.
about that?
What
Back
the
to it,
fuck
Desmond.
is it? What insane leap am I supposed to make right now? I don't get it. Evidence of his involvement. If it's not the condoms, then what? Some of these are like, I don't want to say cryptic, but vague. Oh! Hold on. The toothbrushes. We should be able to match the saliva.
Are you sure?
Fuck!
Back to it, Desmond.
God fucking damn it! I'm going insane! Red Valley Butts. Lighter with a car rental... Hold on. Ah, okay. Okay, because if that's her own car... Yes. Okay, proof of Dale's sighting. The car rental logo. Forgot about that. I did wonder about this. The lighter on Ida's bedside table. Ida had her own car, so why would she even have this in the first place? It could be nothing, of course, but in light of what Dale had seen, it could be it was a person with a rental visiting Ida. Sometimes it's the little things, sometimes it's luck. In this case, it was a bit of both. The rental company turned out to be a fairly small chain with only one store operating anywhere near Ida. In fact, the inscription of the car Dale saw was indeed a match to just one car they had out on loan that day. Dennis Clay. Okay. This here is Dennis Clay, a long-haul trucker out of a small town known as Wilson's Bend, just a few miles north of Ida's Hickory Ridge. During the time of Ida's murder, Clay had finished a run and was heading home, a route running directly through where Ida lived. Okay, intriguing. That is rather unusual though, isn't it? If he's almost home, only a few miles out as you say, then why the rental car? Exactly. Suspicious, isn't it? That's yet another alibi you need to dig into yourself, in time. There's still one more potential suspect left to consider before you move on. Keep going. Evidence of Dale's involvement. Ida was saving to move. Ida kept money and drugs. Used to haul timber from Briar Hollow. Saw a black car with strange plates. Hold on. Fields. Oh! Yes. God, I forgot all about that. Or at least I forgot that's what was etched on it. I'm still not quite sure why Ida had this radio, but more to the point is the engraving on its side. Fields. As in Dale Fields, surely. Which, granted, might not mean much more than lending something to a neighbor. If it were the only thing implicating Dale in all of this, yes. Okay, so he's definitely a suspect. I do agree, Dale needs looking into. These begin to paint a picture of a relationship that may be beyond what she's suggesting. Except, there is still one problem with this. A lot of Dale's perceived guilt hinges on not just your interpretation of the notepad indentations, but relevance also.
Oh?
Relevance? I mean, when you made a point of it, I guess I assumed. Desmond, I only offered you evidence. It's on you to prove how it fits into this case specifically. Here. Are the notepad indentations relevant? You still have groundwork to do. What do you have that corroborates the list as that day's schedule? Dale might be suspicious, but what you have currently is arbitrary. Lock this in, though, and things could change quite quickly. Proof of the notepad indentations are relevant to the day of Ida's murder. Proof that the notepad indentations are relevant to the day of Ida's murder. The notebook found in her car?
Are you sure
Nope.
about that? Back to it, Desmond.
Proof the notepad indentations are relevant to the day of Ida's murder. Well, she had regulars and they talked tricks, so that seems...
Are you sure
Fuck!
about that? Back to it, Desmond.
Here we go. Okay. According to Ida's mother, Lillian, they had met in the morning. Ida was murdered, specifically so Lillian could find Ida's son. That matches to the first start point on the indentation, James to Ma. As to why the list was for that same day, well... Lillian also suggested the two hadn't been getting along, or even seeing much of each other, so if that's the case... then it hadn't been a common occurrence. Ida had taken her son to stay with her mother. Exactly right. That makes for a much stronger case against the neighbor now, and vital information for follow-up questioning. So... well, broken arm. We can now officially rule in Dale Fields as a potential suspect in Ida's murder. And really, all things considered, perhaps even the most suspicious. If this was a schedule of that day, what with Ida giving her mother a rare visit, then there's an obvious implication here. That will make D.F. Dale the last person to have seen Ida the day she was murdered. Indeed, assuming we can verify these indentations and such. And actually, now that all the victimology leads are exhausted, it's time we turn our focus. Right. 3 men who had the opportunity, who fit the narrative, or at least what we have of it so far. Opportunity is one thing, but who had the motive to kill? Or who had the desire to, even? The desire? That's a little complicated, Desmond. Take it one step at a time. Maybe you'll get there. Standard procedure is to get a little background on them first, so let's just start there. Okay, intriguing. Even at a glance, there's quite the history between them all. Lies, cheating, drugs, violence. Yes, well, as intriguing as all of this is, there's just one more thing I actually wanted to show you first. Something that sets the foundation for this crucial phase. A second list that once again changes what you think you know. Another one? But from there. Was that also from the notepad in Ida's bedroom?
You can do better than that.
You can do better than that. We touched on this earlier, surely you haven't already forgotten. Think about it carefully. Where was something similar hidden from us? Well, yeah. Ida's body. The notebook in the car.
Of course.
Right, of course. It had to have been in the back of Ida's car. You must mean this notebook here. You said it had a page torn out of it. Good. I'm glad to see you can keep tabs on loose ends. Especially when they're as important as this one.
If that's the case.
Seeing as it was likely removed from Ida's home by her murderer, we need to figure what they were trying to hide. You can take a look, but since it's coded, it won't do you all that much good. Not without this.
It's there in the evidence.
It's there in the evidence, Desmond. Think on it. Where did you learn about coded names? Answer this, and you'll have everything you need to finally start on your suspects. Okay, first of all, get all this shit out of here. What evidence help identify what these coded indentations mean? Let me see. Deep Forest, Deep, D Ropes, Easy Rider, D Straight 10, Woodchuck, Cool Hand, Gator Chaser. Well, as Lenore said, if the notebook it came from was removed with the clothes, it would mean someone wanted it hidden. We have to make sense of this before we start on the suspects. So where do we learn about coded names? From... where is it? Info on truckers. Yeah, they're code names. What was it Cheryl said? That her and Ida would swap names of clients? Coded names. Trucker handles. So that's what this is? A list of Ida's clients? Otherwise known as a black book. Yes. Well deduced, Desmond. Cheryl believed Ida only adopted this concept since working out of home. Also worth noting. Okay, good. Good to know. It means less people who might have been there, at least. Works to our advantage. Knowing what this list is, though, that's one thing, but... the coding's still quite obscure. Do we have tips on what any of this means? Did Cheryl know who they were? She was able to help us identify 2 of the men, yes, the other 3 too, indirectly. You see, she gave some pointers on what their handles were likely referencing. Whoops. Damn it. Drives back road, relaxed, free-spirited, horse wood, blonde hair, blue eyes, Gator country horse. Now, Of the two Cheryl knew, one was already in jail, and one was placed 2 states away at the time. Both are ruled out. To identify the remaining 3 clients, well, you already have enough evidence to do that yourself.
Oh?
Oh, okay. We already know them then. Wait. You mean it's our 3 suspects on this list? All 3 of them were clients of Ida. The partner, even the neighbor? Intriguing, isn't it? Now I know why having this list was so important. So... Dale Field's handle, Dennis Clay's handles, or Gary Warren's handle. These truckers, as Cheryl also pointed out, hold aspects of the work as their identity. Remember that. If you can find out what she meant by that, you'll have the ammunition you need to take them into the interview room. Well, since Dale is technically a suspect, let's move on to what we have on him to keep it in one place. Okay, let's check him out. He might be older than the other suspects, but he looks to have aged well, looks physically fit. Despite being retired, he still looks the part of a trucker. Denim shirt, denim pants, and his oversized belt buckle, featuring exhaust stacks behind an eagle. Scratch on an arm. This has been on my mind, actually. This cast on Dale's arm. This is a long arm cast, up and around the elbow. I can't imagine he could do much with it. Did he happen to get that before or after Ida's murder? Before, about 2 weeks earlier. Don't let that dissuade you on his capability, though. Forensics suggested that both Ida and Bonnie were strangled by a left-handed offender. You'll notice which arm is in the cast, and in fact, all 3 men were confirmed to be primarily left-handed. Right, okay, interesting. So then, what about these scratches on his left arm? Did he have anything to say on that? Just that he attempted some manual work on his property with one good arm, or so he says. Let's see. Retired long-haul trucker, various companies, currently living in Hickory Ridge. 65, single, never married, no children, claims to live a quiet, peaceful life. Attempted strangulation of an unnamed 21-year-old transient female at a rural fuel stop. No charges made. History of assault and strangulation. Well, that's certainly... Okay, let's check out Dennis. Fairly standard trucker attire. Oversized belt buckle with the letter D. Padded vest. A Florida-themed trucker cap. A necklace with a cross pendant, so he's from religion. Cigarettes. Windsor Bolts, I believe, going by the logo. Oh, Windsor Bolts. Those were by Bonnie's, yeah. The slumped shoulders and sweaty armpits are hard to miss, too. Not a particularly confident-looking figure. At least not under police scrutiny. Oh, we already did this. Currently living in Wilson's Bend, a few miles north of Hickory Ridge. 38, married, 6 years to Judith Clay. 33, no children. Wife filed for divorce, citing adultery and habitual drug use. Withdrawn within 2 weeks. Soon after, took on longer trucking routes. Oh. He has injuries on his wrists. Those marks on his wrists are very peculiar. Is it just me, or do these look incredibly similar to some injuries we've already seen in this case? They do. Alright, let's check out Gary. Flannel jeans, pretty standard rural trucker fare. A bit more stripped back and simple somehow, I suppose. Clean shaven. Doesn't seem all that impressed either, going by the body language. Between the bruising and the bandage, seems like Gary took a pretty good knock to his nose there. Yep. Currently living in Culditch Creek, hour drive east of Hickory Ridge. 41, divorced in 62, wife citing desertion. Now lives with second wife, Mae Warren, sister and son, Bill. Numerous charges for using non-designated trucking routes and falsifying his logbooks. Considered usual behavior for truckers avoiding mandatory test periods and making their own hours. Okay, Dale Fields' handle. What evidence indicates the handle of Dale Fields and which handle is it? Well, for that, I need to see the list. Drives back road, easy rider, D straight 10. Horse wood. Oh, third entry woodchuck. This one sounds familiar. We have evidence of someone transporting wood as a trucker. Yes. Cool hand. The fourth entry, cool hand. D ropes, talk 10. Blonde hair, blue eyes. Straightforward physical description. Should be simple enough. The lost entry, Gator Chaser, S Ropes 15. Horse to Gator Country. So what, Louisiana, somewhere south? That doesn't sound familiar. So he was the one who was several states away. Easy Rider, D straight 10. Relaxed. I suppose at least two of our suspects seem to be, but free-spirited? Deep Forest. Driving back roads, couldn't that be any of them? To make it their handle though, it must be a particular preference or proclivity. Okay, Woodchuck is definitely fucking, Oh, okay, I guess that's gone now. What the? What? Why is that gone now? Oh, there it is. Okay. What the hell? Used to haul timber. There we go. There's not a lot to go on with Dale as a trucker, but he does touch on it enough that is in his statement that he gave.
Exactly.
Exactly. Seems to connect rather clearly with one of the listed handles, wouldn't you say? Which would make him Woodchuck, right? He did say he used to be a wood hauler. Retired now, but that's correct. Turns out that is indeed the moniker that stuck with him. Okay, so he's definitely Woodchuck. Good start, Desmond. That leaves just two to identify now. Okay, Dennis Clay. What? Nope, nope, I don't need to hear that. Dennis Clay's handle. Let me see. Belt buckle D, padded vest, Florida cap, cross pendant, cigarettes. 38, married to Judith, no children, north of Ida. Adultery and habitual drug use, abrasions on both wrists. Cool hand, D, ropes and talk, Gator Chaser. Easy Rider, Deep Forest. I think he's cool hand. Because... let's see. The D seems to indicate it. Alright, so in Dennis' case, it's what he was wearing that gives it away. It tells about his route, his identity as a trucker. Once you figure the associations involved, the handle comes in fairly easily. Only it seems you missed the point on which hand it lines up with. I'm not sure. What? What do you mean?
Back to it, Desmond.
What the fuck? Cool hand D, ropes. What the fuck? What are you talking about? Oh, that also had a D. Alright, fine. Okay, so it's Deep Forest instead. That's what the belt buckle is, isn't it? The D, as in Deep Forest. Okay, I can see that now, but no. You took a shot at the wrong part of his appearance there, I'm afraid. Fucking goddamn you! I gotta keep this in mind. But... so then it's Easy Rider. That can't be right. No, no, something's wrong. Hold on. Let me see him. That's a Florida cap. Oh, Gator Chaser. Yeah, okay, I see. So that just wasn't listed. Oh, Florida cap. Yeah, okay. Gator Chaser. I'm a fool. Alright, so in Dennis' case... yeah. We get this.
Yeah.
Okay, so the D was just there to fuck you up. I'm an idiot. Florida Gators. Rooster Florida. Gator Chaser. No, I get it. That's 2 identified. 1 more left. That leaves Gary. Let's see. Clean shaven, impatient posture. Bruising and bandage on nose. Lives east of Ida. Charges for using unofficial trucking routes and falsifying logbooks. Cool hand. Woodchuck. So we used Woodchuck and Gator Chaser. So it's Easy Rider. Deep Forest. Easy Rider. Long haul trucker currently living in Colditch. 41. Using non-designated trucking routes and falsifying his logbooks. Considered usual behavior for truckers. Making their own hours. I'm gonna say Easy Rider. Based on how frivolous he appears to be. So in avoiding way stations, essentially Gary was avoiding highways. And if he's avoiding highways, well spotted. Is the implication of it which lines up convincingly with one of the handles from Ida's Black Book. Only... What? How?
Back to it, Desmond.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh, Easy Riders. I keep forgetting that there's more info on the damn list. Relaxed, free-spirited, blonde hair, blue eyes. Drives back road. Well, now I know for a fact it's either Deep Forest or Cool Hand. But he's definitely not blonde, so it's Deep Forest. Right, because if it's not main roads you're using, then your only alternative is to use back roads. In other words, Deep Forest. Okay. That's fair, that's fair. I fucked around for a while because of that goddamn D buckle. And with that, you've got all 3 suspects and their handles from Ida's list. So... there we have it. Woodchuck, Gator Chaser, and Deep Forest respectively. All 3 have a lot to answer for. And I have a lot I want to ask them. In some ways, I almost wouldn't have known where to begin. You wouldn't, actually. Everything you'd have asked would have been a card you'd shown. Let them show the cards. Rather than give them the chance to shape their lies around the evidence should instead expose the lie.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, we know the evidence about as well as we can now. Now it's just a matter of looking for what doesn't fit their stories.
Exactly.
Exactly. Not always because they're guilty either. At least, not of murder. You've done the groundwork, now's the time to finally hear what they had to say. Just remember, one statement at a time, Desmond. It's time to strip away their lies and get to the truth. The evidence should expose the lie. That seems easier said than done. Take it one lie at a time, sure, but can I really tell something like that? Who's just scared and who's a murderer? Well, time to hear some statements. Yeah, I gave her that there radio's for Ida. Only reaches the gas and go. She said that's all she needs. So, them truckermen can call her, see? I don't call no one no more, so we're in no trouble. Sure, I paid her for that. She needed the work. Eyes lonely. Worked out. Time to time. I ain't seen her that day, if that's what you mean. I ain't got no reason to do what I got done. I ain't got no reason to do what got done to her either. Okay, he says he didn't see her that day, so that's definitely not true.
Interesting.
Yeah. Dale's... I don't know about his motive, but he was definitely there. Maybe his initials on the list isn't quite enough to prove he was there, but this I think we can dispute.
Are you sure about
What the fuck do you mean?
Back to it, Desmond.
He claims he wasn't there that day. We have a... okay, I gotta find the list.
Are you sure about about that.
What the fuck
To
do you mean? He's literally right there. He's circled. How is that not relevant? That makes no fucking sense. He's literally listed that day. And he claims he didn't see her. How the hell is that not relevant? That's stupid. Okay, I guess the history of a... Is that what we're... That's not what he was talking about! Fucking goddamn.
Are you sure about that?
Jesus, now we can't even use the fact that he has assaulted someone before as evidence. Okay, I really feel like the language is too vague here. Because everything I put up are actual arguments that she just brushes off. Alright, let's listen to the others. Well, I mean, the rental, it's just to do some things out of town is all. I can't be driving no truck all around. And I dropped by that trailer, sure, but I was lost. Stopped for the directions, like. She asked for the, for a light, see? So I gave that lighter to her. That's it, I swear. He's feeling the pressure, but even so, the explanation for the lighter is at least plausible. Unlikely, but plausible. Okay, we placed him there. He's admitted to as much. So did he really not go inside? The boy? He's missing? Oh, Lord. Christ almighty. Right, well, yeah, I seen him outside. He was on this radio, small-like radio, with, gosh, some off-road handle, I think. He'd say he's westbound and inbound, so it must be. I know, because I thought ain't no one coming into Hickory that ways. Not that old road. That's all I recall. The boy was there still, last I'd seen. She just left him there too, by himself, like. Okay, let's hear what Gary has to say.
Work papers. Jesus. Well, sure, I'd seen her for a spell, years back. We had that boy, so for a bit I'd covered him. And for what? I ain't doing that no more. He ain't mine, not proper like. I don't speak with him or nothing. I got my own family now. That was a mistake, that's the truth of it. And I ain't got no clue where he is.
These points he's making about the relationship being old now, they're actually quite hard to dispute. The points about James and Hickory, though, I wonder.
Close? Them's old. Can't believe she asked him. Might be she was finally making to hug him? Or bringing up to me? She was touched in the head like that, all clingy crazy like. I don't know. Could be too I set up for it. Folks will do that, you know. Is there, you know, persons of interest? I mean, y'all looking at clothes. She got around, that woman.
Okay, was Gary in contact with James? Dennis claims heard James radioing with off-road handle heading westbound and inbound. And if we can just look at Gary here for a second. Creekout Drive east of Hickory Ridge. So that adds up. Well, to be fair, Dennis' memory here seems a little shaky on the handle. It's scraping at the edge of a name, isn't it? But the similarities to Gary's deep forest handle, the back road's insinuation of it, could be a good fit, right? Could be, since Dennis' recollection lacks confidence, though. You'll need more than that you'll need more than just this to connect Gary to. If this trucker was coming westbound into Hickory Ridge, he's obviously starting out east, a rarely used road too to boot. With Gary's hometown east of Ida, small communities, limited road access between them. It is a bit of a stretch, but yes, it does warrant attention. I'll give you that. So that's the thing. Separately, each is definitely debatable. Together, though, what are the chances? Of James talking with someone coming from the direction of Coldridge with a handle reminiscent of Gary's? It's a good case.
In fact,
This was, in fact, posed to Gary, and he walked right into it. His tendency to become defensive was quite the bonus for investigators. His reply does essentially confirm this suspicion, but as you'll see, he did also seem to have an answer for everything. Is the whole game this one case? Because I thought it was like a simple introductory case and then kind of Phoenix Wright-esque. There would be another one. But what do I know? Okay, proof Dennis was Ida's client. I mean, he said as much, didn't he? Hold on. Statements. Dennis. Rental for odd jobs, stopped by Ida for directions. Gave Ida a lighter. Heard James radioing, abrasions on both wrists. Wife withdrew filing for divorce, adultery and habitual drug use. That might be it.
are you
Nope.
sure about that?
I mean,
Back to it, Desmond.
true. Him being an adulterer isn't proof that he was with Ida. Belt buckled deep, padded vest. Proof that Dale had the potential to hurt Ida. I mean, he straight up admits to being her client. But that wasn't right before. His appearance?
Are you
No.
sure about that?
I didn't believe that
Back
either,
to
so
it,
what the
Desmond.
fuck? Proof that Dennis did visit Ida as a client. I mean, let's take a look at... Dennis was Gator Chaser. Oh, that could be what GC stands for. And Deep Forest. Okay. Yes. His handling issues didn't slip by you there, I agree it's compelling, just not as strong as other evidence, I'm afraid. Motherfucker!
Back to it, Desmond.
Oh, eat shit! Okay. Red Valley Butts. Stopped by Ida's, gave her a lighter. I heard James radioing with Off the Road. But she didn't smoke Red Valley, did she? Close her wrists. Red Valley. Light up with car rental logo. And he mentions rental for odd jobs, stopped by Ida for directions, gave Ida a lighter. So yes. So that's either this or the lighter itself. Okay, there we go. Well, if Dennis didn't simply give Ida the lighter, then what's the alternative? He must have used it himself. To light a cigarette? Not bad, Desmond. The logic is certainly good. None of them had usable trace evidence or prints, though, as you might recall. The butts weren't even his brand either.
Back to it, Desmond.
Not quite. Oh, well, he straight up admitted it, though. Like, fucking goddamn.
Are you sure about that?
Jesus!
Back
What
to it,
else?
Desmond.
Says he rented a car that day. We know a rented car came. There's a lighter from a rented car. How are these not correct? Like, nothing about them says wrong. It's just not the answer she wants. Like, I feel like my logic is sound for a lot of these suggestions. And I'm just being told, nope, idiot. Like, there is the fact that ropes is written on this. And he has abrasions on his wrists, so... But...
Are you sure
Nope.
about that?
I'm going fucking insane! They give you so many things that add up. And only sometimes do they acknowledge, yes, I understand your logic. But no, and here's why. They only do that with like 2 out of 8 that make some sense to bring up. Matching his handle to Ida's black book is a good start, especially considering the client list is more recent. On its own though, this could be fairly easily talked around. You should look for something more substantial.
Back to
Oh my fucking god, I'm actually going to kill something. I mean, this doesn't make sense either though, because Bonnie was a colleague. If this is it, it's a stretch as hell.
Are you sure about that?
Okay, good.
Back to
That one would have made me mad. But it is definitely relevant. Okay, what the fuck are they looking for then? Why am I so mad at the chill visual novel? Proof that Dale had the potential to hurt Ida. Proof that Dennis did visit Ida as her client. I don't understand what the fuck you want. I've tried literally everything that ties him to the place. Makes no sense. It's not the cross pendant. That can't be it. I mean, that's just proof that he visited, that he saw the boy. That's not proof that he was as a client. Oh my god, I'm going insane. This sucks. Proof that Dale had the potential to hurt Ida. Like, and it's called Dale's motive, but there's nothing. Like, so often the logic is very sound in what you have to bring up. But then there's this, like, I see nothing that speaks to this. I'm stumped. I have no fucking clue. I've tried everything that makes even the slightest bit of sense. What the hell? Have I really all this time not tried this with the condoms? Because I've tried that so many times with other things where they were just like, no, that's not relevant right now. And I might have, you know, seen myself blind in it. Let's try. Oh my god. Maybe his car being seen can be explained away like he did. And the lighter? Maybe. But with this... If it turns out that one of these condoms are a blood type match to Dennis, surely that makes it hard for him to deny, right? Especially so when you consider that the 2 more recently used condoms were a match for a rare AB blood type. The same rare AB blood type, in fact, as our suspect here, Dennis Clay. Alright. Okay, I'll fully admit that I apparently forgot that while I'm sitting here. I might have been tired while I was... It's been a little bit. I've taken a little break. But my god, man. I still feel like many of my attempts were fairly sound. And I still need Dale's motive. That question straight up confuses me. Anyway, as you imagine, Dennis didn't take well to this information. Listen to his follow-up statement. See what you make of it. And do keep in mind, Desmond, motivation can be tricky. Perhaps a drive for violence, or perhaps something else entirely. His follow-up statement, so... Hello? What are you doing? Get this out of here. Okay. So his follow-up statement. Where do I see those? Here? Dennis. Second alibi. Here we go. Look, it was stupid. I got me a tip on CB. She was good for it, but I swear we'd done it. I paid her, and then I left. That's it. I can't remember the voice I gave him. Yeah, it was 2 times we done it, but there weren't no patience about it neither. All rushed like. Weren't there more than an hour. I mean, Christ, what else I'd even want from her? It's unfaithful, I admit it now, okay? I just can I call my wife? Well, he's owned up to being a client at least. It's the last part of his statement that's the real question. Okay, what motive would Dennis have? Now this is about motive, like Lenore touched on, and not always just about violence. So what else would he want from Ida? Silence. Theoretically silence, like don't reveal to my wife. Had intercourse with Ida twice on day of no, on the actual day, okay. Ida was impatient. There less than an hour. I was lost. Let me see, background. Wife withdrew filing for divorce, adultery, and habitual drug use. He does have the cross pendant too. So let's try these two.
Are you sure about
Nope.
that?
Okay. I was thinking about the pendant. If we're going to understand why Dennis was driven to do anything, the only thing we have to go by really is this. Indeed. Which becomes quite incriminating once you consider other evidence in the room.
Back to it, Desmond.
Well, not quite. Look over the evidence again. Yeah. Rental for odd jobs. Oh, wait. Hold on. What was his handle? What was his... Let's see. Where's the black book? His handle was Gator Chaser. Is Dennis Clay. And how long was he there? S Talk 5, Talk 10. It doesn't really account for... There were 4 hours between Gator Chaser and DF, which is either Deep Forest, it's Gary, or Dale. Though it's most likely Gary. Maybe that one? You do have to think quite outside the box in this one. So, why don't we say... at his home. Was it in the car? Where is it? Here it is. Let's try.
Are you sure?
Nope. I mean, sure, it doesn't disprove that he was there for an hour, but it does prove that there's a couple hours unaccounted for. Okay. Let's read about him some more. Pat Vest. Had intercourse with Ida twice on day of murder. Ida was impatient. There less than an hour. Rental for odd jobs. Stopped by... Oh yeah, he claims that he was there for directions.
Are you sure about
Fucking...
that?
So
Back to
we're
it.
ignoring that he lied now. Okay. We're really not gonna worry about the cross pendant at all? Okay. See, Dale's motive still fucks me off. Because, like, the question is, what's his motive? But the actual question is he had the potential to hurt her. I've answered every fucking way he had potential to hurt her. These aren't the same question. It drives me nuts. Oh well. Injuries. Abrasions on both wrists. They don't prove anything. The boy. I didn't realize this was here. Fairly standard trucker attire. Oversized. Oh, so it's so you could reread easily. Huh. I never noticed that before. He's from religion. Uh-huh. Windsor bolts. Slumped shoulders and sweaty armpits are hard to miss. Not confident. We already used his background. The rental, it's just to do some things out of town. Can't be driving. I dropped that trailer. I was lost. Okay. You still need to get a tip on CB. Oh. I got me a tip on CB. She... Oh, on the... Yeah, okay. S ropes 15. We still don't know what these numbers mean. Like, is it price? We are in 82. But $5, that's low no matter what. I don't know what it wants from me. I fail to see how anything else is relevant at this time. I mean... The money? She had her jar. But that's a very, very weak... Oh, okay, apparently that's it. According to what Cheryl said, the jar here had been full of both money and drugs. Correct. So if you had proof Dale was after either, well... And then we got this, we already got it. Or either. I fuck that up all the time. Someone took Ida's money and drugs, and when you're one of the last people with Ida, with that kind of history... Right. We've already caught him outright in a lie about being a client, and now this. It's more than suspicious. The evidence against him is really stacking up now. Be that as it may, you do still have quite a bit of work to do here in the other two suspects. No stones unturned now. This one's still... Oh, it's so annoying. I've tried everything. Dale Fields. What I saw. Saw a black car with strange plates. Used to haul timber. Physically fit. But he had a broken arm. Maybe the scratches?
Are you
Nope.
sure about that? Back to it.
I genuinely have no idea what he's looking for with this. Because his history of assaults didn't fucking work. What? I tried that before! Thinking of what happened with his criminal history, it almost seems like what Dale said was a flat-out lie. Right. The connection goes even further, which might have been lost on you giving the rather outdated terminology. The transient female he previously attacked, this used to be considered a sensitive way by police to refer to sex workers. Yes, I knew that! I swear... Okay, if I'm wrong, then, you know, crucify me, whatever. I swear to God I tried this earlier and it just said nope. Alright. Alright. I must have just thought of it and then not done it after all. I feel like I'm going crazy. Well, whatever. Keep moving. So both cases involving strangulation, both in a rural back road area, and now both against sex workers. You can have a listen now to Dale being pressed on this. Sticking to his guns though, as you'll see. God damn it, and I have to do it manually myself. Ugh. Yeah, okay, let's see. Right, sure, I get it. But I mean, that was, Wait, I gave him like an old man voice, didn't I? Right, sure, I get it. But I mean, that was, complicated. I was young, stupid as all heck. Had that rage what some young fools get, you know? Ida was my friend. I could never do that to Ida. I don't think it's possible neither, all things considered. Left-handed. Okay, but there's more to it. Lenore's right. He's not changing his story much. He's actually doubling down on the idea of not being able to do it. Was Dale capable of Ida's murder? That's what the other question kept... Ugh. It's not possible, he says, all things considered. What does he mean by that? He addresses the murderer being left-handed, so what else? If he's right, there's something about this that I'm overlooking. If he's not, then I have to prove he could commit the crime in its entirety. Okay, so let me see. Proof that Dale did or did not have the capability to commit all aspects of the murder. Well, I mean, we have the injuries. His arm. Right arm in a long arm cast, even if he is left-handed. But he also has scratches. Which means someone could have fought back. The fact that he used to haul timber doesn't really matter, because he's retired. He could be way out of shape for all we know. He is physically fit. Although, like, where's his age again? 65. Like, he's an older man. Not that that necessarily means he can't be strong. That's not proof. The fact that he buttoned her shirt wrong because he had one hand. Like, that's no. He would also still have to drive. Thin ligature mark. It's a strange shape, but I'm fairly sure this mark is from a ligature. Thick with a circular shape of some sort at the end. Circular shape of some sort on the end. What's that supposed to mean? The long arm cast predates Ida's murder, but since the suspects are all left-handed and since the murders were confirmed to be from someone left-handed. Then there's the scratches on his left arm. From manual labor with one arm, he says, which sounds more than a little suspicious. The length of the cast running around his elbow would certainly make anything physical tricky, but I don't know. I mean, I don't think that's it. But we could try it. I don't think so. Whether we want to prove capability or lack of capability, it seems inevitable. We have to discuss Dale's cast. Is the logical center to this? Could he physically have done it? There isn't much else for him to hide behind.
Are you sure about that?
Okay, I knew that one was gonna be wrong, but... Fucking hell, what's the second one? Prove that Dale did or did not have the capability. Then we'd have to talk about his appearance, but that doesn't fit at all. That doesn't matter. Oh, okay. That, logic seems a little off on using that. But whatever. I don't buy it. I mean, if you can strangle her, then what else is there to consider? Oh, okay. She doesn't approve. This is wrong. This is a fairly disappointing conclusion to make, Desmond. You're not giving this enough thought. Think through all the steps involved. Capability isn't just about physical exertion, after all. Okay, so that was wrong. Good. Because I would have been mad if that was it. Maybe the sheet? Because, like, how would he wrap her in a sheet if he has a broken arm? I guess it's not impossible, but it's...
Are you sure?
God damn it.
Back to it, Desmond.
I genuinely don't know what... This game makes me feel like an idiot, because, like... Sometimes the language of the questions is so vague that I don't know what I'm looking for. All aspects. Okay. This you can easily drive with one arm. Like, it's not great, but you wait. Left-handed. No, he wouldn't be able to drive stick. Yeah. Okay, I think I see it now. Just because Dale was capable of some aspects of this doesn't mean he was capable of all aspects. Oh my god. Okay, that's on me. I should have thought about that earlier. Obviously he can't drive stick, because if he's sitting left side of the car, left hand on the steering wheel, what was he gonna do? Nicely deduced, Desmond, after fucking around for a while. A detail easy to oversee, but one that has quite important consequences. Right, okay. So that theoretically clears him on driving her out there. Once again, you can never forget the narrative your evidence has already established. We know the attack on Ida took place in her home. And we know her body had to have been driven by her offenders to the disposal site.
Right.
Right. Maybe with a long arm cast, he could have strangled Ida. Perhaps even with some struggling, moved her to the car. But driving a stick shift without movement in his elbow? That sounds highly unlikely, if not impossible. Unlikely, certain. Impossible, not necessarily. It was a convincing enough point, though, for investigators to run reenactments with him. Given his frame, the size of the car, his cast, they were convinced. It all proved too physically awkward to be possible.
If that's the case,
if Dale couldn't have driven Ida's car, then holding him as a suspect is quite problematic. We can point fingers at his past, suggest reasons why he'd fit, but then we'd be wasting time that's better spent on the remaining two. Intriguing as this is, you still can't draw conclusions just yet. Not when there's one more suspect unanswered for. See, she keeps doing this. I know this is a test, and this is a case that they've already done, but she keeps holding information away from you that you could have used. Alright, so who's the last suspect? Wait, what? Hold up, what? What do you mean, one last suspect? You just stopped. What the fuck? What? Okay, I guess I need to check him out some more. I'm missing something about Gary, I guess. Appearance, or did he get a new statement? Yeah, I wasn't there. Okay. You could have said that he had something else to add to this. Oh, and what? Because that boy finds me over CB, I done murdered the woman? Jesus. He's the one calling me, okay? I didn't even want to answer. I don't mean I've been there neither. Hell, I ain't even run through Hickory no more. I just ain't got no reason for it being out there. That lot lizard caused me enough trouble. Right. Admits to talking to James, but not to keeping in contact or being in the area.
Could it be?
Could it be? In an effort to get out of this, did he just walk himself further into the lie? Okay, so now we need proof that he was in Hickory Ridge. Let me see the question. What proves Gary would have to have been near Ida in Hickory Ridge? I mean, we'd have to look at his own statements here. Ignores James' calls, doesn't drive through Hickory Ridge. Lives east of Ida, charges for using unofficial trucking routes and falsifying logbooks. Only shortly Ida's partner is James' father, used to insure him, doesn't talk to James, know where he is. Calls Ida clingy, asks about leads. Let's listen to his other statements again. I'll do with trucking. Sounds like he's staying off highways, mostly given the way stations he'd be avoiding there. You could... I don't think that's proof, but...
are you
nope.
sure about that? Back to
Okay.
it, Desmond.
Clean shaven. What did he say about the boy? So on this radio, say he's westbound and inbound. So must be, I know, cause I thought ain't no one coming into Hickory that ways.
Are you sure
Fucking,
about that?
okay.
Back to it, Desmond.
Black car with strange plates. Boxy Ford type, bit unusual. Mostly they just walk over from the gas and go, them trucking men. Strange plates too, like a company car.
Are you sure
Nope.
about that? Back to it, Desmond.
Not that I thought that would work, but at this point I'm just trying anything that has the slightest bit of... He's deep forest. So then there will have to be the black book, because, you know... Yeah. Because he's listed there. Although that could still mean Dale. Although he claims he wasn't there, so...
Are you sure about that?
Okay.
Back to it, Desmond.
What proves Gary would had to have been near Ida in Hickory Ridge? I mean, we don't have a map of the area. I don't know anything about his routes. Other than that he avoids the main roads. This is it. The radio only reaches the gas and go. It doesn't have a long range, so he must have been near. Yeah, finally, Jesus. What Dale mentioned here about the radio, it was a fairly innocuous point actually, but the fact that it has such a short range is really in our favor. Yes, he had to have been close. To admit to James reaching him on a radio that can only reach the nearby gas station, Gary was tying himself up in his own lies. Are these the response of someone feeling himself pulled into a murder investigation he had nothing to do with, though? Or are these the lies of a man separating himself from something he had everything to do with? I still can't tell. And with that, we've arrived at this rather interesting predicament. In all honesty, a rather luxurious problem as an investigator to have. 2 suspects rather than none. But even so... Who do you believe? Both clearly have something to hide. Both can be placed there with Ida, giving them an opportunity. Gary's presence in their lives, then his adultery and addictions. Neither one of it known, both went out of the way to hide it. But it's the same problem. What's relevant to the murder? What's malicious, and what's just coincidence? That's perhaps the hardest part of this. How do you arrive at the final truth? Or fill in those final gaps of understanding? You can continue pressing your suspects, and you will. Could come over your evidence, and you'll still do that too. But sometimes it's just that one last discovery that really brings everything into focus. You see, at the very moment these interviews were happening, James was found, alive and perfectly well.
Oh?
Oh, really? That's great, but where? What happened to him? Well, you've listened to their stories, heard the alibis so far, seen the evidence. So tell me, Desmond.
What do you think?
What do you think? Who was the reason why James disappeared? The reason why James disappeared, an odd choice of words. That's a very odd choice of words. I'm not sure what she's asking. Who was the reason? He could have... Okay. Dale is a family friend, from what he tells us. It's entirely possible that James could have run to him. When we see that cutscene in the beginning, he finds his mom dead in the house. He sees the murder. He runs to Dale. The problem is, why didn't the murderer stop him? Because, he called out and opened the door. If it was Gary doing it, fuck me. I don't know. But there's still also the photo frame. We don't know what was in that frame. He could have entered while... The murderer could, in theory, have killed her, left the house, and, come back. He might have gone to get that jug of bleach. I'm going to go with the idea that he ran to Dale for help because he's the only one living nearby. I'd be inclined to think he went to the neighbor himself. Dale's a friendly face. Nearby, secure. I suppose I could see that, assuming Dale had somewhere else to take the boy that isn't under the noses of investigators. But why hide the boy in the first place? Nothing in the evidence suggests at all that he'd behave this way. What we do have is actual proof pointing to Gary having lived with Ida and James, of radioing with them. Yeah, well, I thought you were, like, getting me away from the obvious answer. And as it turns out, James was located inside of a cafe in College Creek, Gary's hometown, as you may recall. So Gary did kidnap him. He'd spent the day waiting there. No purchases. Eventually the manager called in police, who in turn recognized him from the BOLO. I'm not sure it followed. He was waiting? Gary left him there at the cafe? That's just it. Gary had never taken him. No one had. He'd gone on his own free will. According to him, he had found Ida, her body, while he was still in her home. While she was still in her home. And he'd simply fled. No clothes, no suitcase, just $20 in change, 2 used bus tickets, and this. Wait, 2 used bus tickets? This here is James. The man with him, likely Gary, but that's not for certain. The cafe behind them is in fact the same College Creek cafe that James had been found in. I see. So not so much a kidnapping as a kind of runaway. With this as a guide? The cafe was as far as he knew to go. It took him that time to find it, and then he didn't know what to do but wait. It would seem that way, yes. It's likely this was the only way he knew how to look for Gary. This wasn't about his father taking him, but James wanting to be with his father. One of these men is a murderer, and now we have an interview with the only one there to witness any of it. You also have some last statements from our suspects to hear as well. That's a few pieces of new evidence now, but Desmond, this is it. That's the last of the physical evidence. The rest is now up to you. Oh, so now I have to be real careful. That's it? That doesn't seem like enough somehow to put this to bed. An abandoned boy, 3 suspects, and a photo. And among them, it seems, the answer to who caused all this. Okay then, so everyone has a new state. Okay, no. What drugs? Let's see. Drugs? What drugs? A jar? Jesus, look, I ain't got no clue what you're talking about. Oh God. Huh? No, sir. We weren't nothing unsuspecting. We discussed it, she was fine with it, then, well... Oh, crap, I didn't read that. Paid her 30 because of the 2 times, then... Well, that's it. I left. I mean, does any of that help? I don't know what else I ain't said. Look, I'll be straight with y'all. As God is my witness, it's unfaithful. I done bad. I sinned. Hold on. Let me read that again. I'm sorry, what they discussed? What does that even mean? Seems it was important enough to come up in the interview, but how do I work out what occurred to me in such a private situation? Yeah, that's what the ropes are about on the list. But let me see that statement I accidentally skipped. We discussed it, she was fine with it. I barely finished my smoke for I'm out. Paid a 30 because of the 2 times. Yes, Gator Chaser S ropes 15. Good, we know this. So, he paid to tie her up. That was part of it for him. And he paid twice because they had sex twice. Right. Let's see what Gary has to say. The other man. Oh, here we go. Look, just what does it matter if the boy's calling me? Or if I was in Hickory? I mean, y'all can poke holes in this or that, but end of the day, I still ain't done nothing. Ain't seen the whore, ain't stepped foot in her whore home. Nothing. Not in years. Look, why the hell ain't y'all with that feller I done told y'all about? I know he'd been there. I mean, Christ, the boy was calling me about it. Scared he was, shaking, and his voice like. And y'all here pestering about radios and clothes. Goddamn. As much as I don't trust Gary, this could be sincere. I suppose if anything is going to help find truth in this. Was Gary really inside Ida's home? We still don't actually have Gary placed there, do we? And if we can't place him at the crime scene itself, it's hard to disagree with him. If we can, though, I don't see how we would. Okay, so now we have James himself. Let's see what he has to say. What happened? I went in her room, her bedroom, and she was just laying there, not moving like. This was after that man had come in that black car. I was outside waiting for Mar, but she weren't coming out. Sold something of Mars at the Gas and Go. Caught a bus what come by. I was at a station a while, then another bus took me to Colditch. A black car? That must have been... If he was the last person with Ida before James found her, that's quite damning. Okay, wow, it's so definitive. And yet, Lenore would play the devil's advocate, wouldn't she? No stones unturned, so let's just keep this in mind. My pa, he's what took care of me. He's asking on me, bringing something special like for eating and what have you. He weren't mean like she was. Ma, she never gave me nothing except lip, maybe. Loch lizard is what she said. It's what she was. A loch lizard is what she was. Oh shit. She'd been nice to them men what come by, every one of them, like turning on the light, then off again when they's done and gone. Ma was mean, a loch lizard, nice to clients. Pa took care of me, brought him treats. Ma in bedroom unresponsive after man in black car visits. Sold things of Ma's, caught 2 buses. Evidence suggestive of the agreement Dennis and Ida made. Well, that would be the abrasions on her arm and the inspect indentations. So, yes. The indentations. And the thing is, he had, you know, abrasions on his wrists too. Hold on. Abrasions on both wrists. Do these look incredibly similar to some injuries we've already seen in this case? Let's start with the ones on her arms.
Are you sure about that?
Really?
You can do better than that.
What?
Back
Neither?
to it, Desmond.
Hold on. That can't be right. Oh shit, that's the wrong one. Okay, that's my bad. Then just try the indentation on his arms. You're not wrong. This is certainly to do with his handle. There's more particular evidence you'll need here, though. What the fuck? I thought there was something intriguing about these marks on his wrists, the similarity to what we see with Ida, and even Bonnie, too. Only for him, this was intentional, pre-discussed even, it would seem.
Back to it, Desmond.
Well, not quite. Okay, yes. Fucking... So, then, where was this from? What is this called? S. Ropes 15. Right. I guess they want the very specific stuff that was written? Of course. This is about as close as a record as we'd get to of Ida agreeing to anything with the clients. Considering that, actually, it's not all that hard to see what that agreement might have been. Thought it was some... yeah.
Nicely deduced.
Nicely deduced, Desmond. You're right to hone in on this. As simple or even as private as this may seem. Is the implication of what this means for the rest of the case? Yeah, I think I'm beginning to see that now. The handles we know, but it's the rest of it here. This is about client preferences. And while the ropes part is fairly clear, it's the inference about these clients that's actually the critical detail. It can be inferred that of the clients denoted with ropes, only Dennis likes to be tied. Yeah, because the S is probably for submission, while the D is for dominance. D ropes talk, yep. Deep forest, yeah. Dennis's abrasions are proof that he himself was tied, and likely by Ida, as per their agreement, just as she'd written down. By comparison, Gary, Deep Forest, he lacks these abrasions, so ropes isn't automatically suggestive of the same thing. If that's the case, the S here suggests Dennis is submissive. And adversely, Gary is dominant, D. Right, exactly. Rather than wanting to be tied, he had a preference for tying Ida. Huh. So hold on. The abrasions that we see on Ida, then. I'd assume she'd been forcefully restrained, but can it be? Did Ida consent to being tied up?
Perhaps.
Perhaps. It's certainly possible, given the evidence. Not just Ida, for that matter. No, because she had them too. 2 sex workers out of the same small community with wrist abrasions, and a client with a proclivity for ropes. Don't get too excited, Desmond. It certainly could have made this easier for Gary, but there's still more to be said about this case yet. See what you can make of Gary's last statement, and we'll see what loose ends we can start to tie up. Very funny. Hey, Gary, what do you have to say? Wait. Hold on. That fella I done told you about. I know he'd been there. The boys was calling me about it. Scared he was, shaking in voice. Yeah. Okay, so... Was Gary recently inside Ida's home? Evidence suggesting Gary had been inside Ida's home recently. Recently. I mean, the toothbrushes could... That could be one he had brought if he's a long-haul trucker. What the hell? Oh. We haven't inspected his photo at all. Lockett's Cafe in Cultage Creek. James had made his way there on his own in hopes of finding his father, Gary. Lenore had said she had $20 in change, a used bus ticket, and his photo, like chasing down a memory of somewhere better. This must have been from an earlier visit James made to Cultage Creek. He looks happy. Considering Gary had a second family living there, probably a rare visit. I mean, the person taking the photo was probably Ida herself. With the face cut off, I'm not certain if this is Gary. Just likely, I suppose. The gentle arm around James, the flannel and jeans, though they're hardly unique. Then there's the differences. Here the man has a full beard. Belt buckles, too, depicting a road winding through trees. What does it matter if the boy's calling me? Eyes and Hickory. End of the day, I still ain't done nothing. Ain't seen the whore. Ain't stepped foot in her whore home. Not in years. Why ain't y'all with that feller I done told you about? I know he'd been there. I mean, Christ, the boys was calling me about it. Scared, shaking in his voice. And that's not really proof. Let's try the toothbrushes. Like, surely they could be investigated, right?
Are you sure?
Nope.
About that?
And another nope.
Back to it, Desmond.
Okay, what the hell am I looking for? What, was Gary recently inside Ida's home? We do have the DF, which suggests he was there, because that stands for Deep Forest. Of course, that also proves that he was there after Dennis. Deep Forest. Match with Gary Warren's criminal history of avoiding highways and way stations, which law confirmed. Dale says he saw a black car with strange plates. Boxy Ford type, bit unusual. Mostly they just walk over from the gas and go, them trucking men. So this would be someone who knew her, knew where she lived. We'll try it.
Are you sure about
Nope.
that? You can do better.
And nope. God damn it.
Back to it, Desmond.
I mean, we could talk about his injury. When was that? Like... He hasn't really addressed it, has he? Between the bruising on the bandage, it seems like Gary took a pretty good knock to his nose. So that's definitely one. Westbound and inbound. The boy was there still last I'd seen. I don't think this is it.
Are you sure about
Motherfucker.
that? You can do better than that. Back to it, Desmond.
Once again, the language is so vague, I don't know what I'm looking for. Nothing has... We know the lighter in her home came from Dennis, so that ain't it. The CB radio doesn't prove anything. Cheap food from Johnny's Pizza and Irma's Bucket Pies. The pie box was quite... It was proof Gary had visited Ida recently. How? Hold on, how? Wait, how? Looks to be fairly standard trash. Tissues, food waste, bottles. I'm not sure if anything is suspicious. Says more about how Ida lived. The pie box was quite crucial. It's proof Gary had visited Ida recently, despite claiming other... How? Was it ever mentioned that that's from out of town? Wait. When the fuck was this ever established? I mean, obviously that's it, because it straight up says so, but how? When was this said? When the hell was this said? No, seriously, when the hell was that established? I don't remember. Oh, it's because it's Lockett's Cafe. Okay. Okay, so this is a case of the game, like... Yeah, okay. That makes more sense. Okay, I can't be upset about that then. Lockett's Cafe in College. James has made his way there on his own in hopes of finding his father. Lenord said he had 20,000 change. Okay, so the game kind of filled in the blanks there for me. Now I feel extra dumb. Okay, so that's definitely one of them. Flannel jeans, full beard, belt buckle rode through trees. That's not proof of anything at all. Definitely that. I guess there's the jug. Like, where would that have... no, that could have been from her home. She could have had bleach in the home for whatever reason. Would you have known about her black book? I doubt it, but... I have to say, to find something so important among something as trivial as the garbage on the floor. I didn't think much of it at all to begin with. Why would I? But now, in light of all the evidence we have...
Are you sure sure?
Yeah. That one I knew would be wrong, but I was gonna try it anyway. The open drawers on the right had been completely emptied out. Since the only clothes left behind were for women's and children's, the men's clothing in Ida's car were likely taken from here. Seems like her murderer had more to hide than just her body. Was he living with her? Inside was a newspaper from the day Ida was reported missing and the day before she was found. I mean, we could say the newspaper, because she doesn't seem the type to buy the newspaper. I doubt that's it, but... Nope. And she thought I was talking about the condoms too, so nope, that ain't it. I mean, the best evidence I have is the fact that he knows the word lock lizard, although pretty sure he called her a lot lizard. Let me see. Let me see his statements. I don't remember where he said it. I knew Ida. Work papers. No, he said it in one of the last ones. The other man. No, fucking let me read them. That lot lizard caused me enough trouble. Yeah. That has to be it. The fact that he uses that phrase. Like, where would a child know that phrase?
Are you sure about that?
Oh, fuck off!
Back to it.
That's definitely worth noting, though! The hell?
Are you sure about that?
Fucking...
Back to it, Desmond.
How is that not relevant in this case? He's using an extremely specific bit of slang that we've only heard one other person use here. I mean, you could argue that he knew what drawers to look through. But I don't think that's it. Yeah, no. Fucking hell.
To it, Desmond.
See, this is the problem I have, and I've said this before, like, so many things that you can bring up are definitely relevant, but the dialogue doesn't... Only like 1/3 of the time does the dialogue acknowledge, like, okay, yes, this is a point that is relevant to this. It's not what I'm looking for, though. It just straight up says no. And then you're just shit out of luck, like, what do I do now? And I realized there would be a lot of work to add unique lines for every bit of evidence. So it's not like I'm faulting anyone for it. It makes it really hard to know what the hell you're looking for. And apparently the indentations aren't proof enough.
Are you sure about that?
Even though his handle is literally fucking listed on the black book of that day. But maybe the fact that the notebook was in the car?
Are you sure?
No, of course not.
To it, Desmond.
They definitely want you to notice the full beard. The implication being that if it is Gary, he might have shaved himself to throw off suspicion, but that doesn't prove that he was in her fucking home. It's the cafe. So you want me to prove that he had been inside Ida's home recently. Okay, we have the photo of this cafe, and we have the garbage on the floor. Wouldn't one automatically, include the other? No, you have to choose both for this. Again, I guess I understand it, but when you have the focus on been inside the home, that suggests looking at things in the home or on his person that proves he was in there, not the fact that he lives near a cafe. We already have the fact that the pie package is on the floor. Why are these two treated like two separate pieces of evidence instead of the same thing? The logic behind some of these answers, man. Maybe it's just my brain working in weird ways. I don't fucking know. It's not that this doesn't make sense. It's just these feel like the same answer. I really feel like there's a problem with the way some of these questions are phrased. Alright. This cafe. You said this was in College Creek, Gary's hometown, an hour's drive from Ida? That's correct, yes. You're onto something there. Hopefully the right something. So it wanted me to, get these in a different order. My god. It's so highly specific, especially when there's so many other things that do answer the same questions. Suspicious, isn't it? How does a pie from Gary's hometown arrive in Ida's home? It's an hour drive away. She could have gone there if she really liked it. Every step of the way, Gary's talked himself out of his ties to his family, and yet, every lie puts him closer still. Yes, well, he seemed to have seen the writing on the wall too, that this was going nowhere good for him. He refused any further participation at this point in the interview and demanded a lawyer. As much as Gary's guilt grows, you can't simply ignore the evidence against Dennis either. I doubt James's testimony about Ida's final visitor wasn't lost on you. Right, no, it wasn't. For one reason or another, they both seem guilty. So something has to give here. If this is all the evidence we'll get, then something here separates the two. Oh, okay. You said it just before, didn't you? Loose ends. I know there's a number of things to get back to here, but where do I start? It's all waiting to fall into perspective. Go back to the beginning. Break this down into its main elements. Do you recall what I taught in the BSU's approach to this? The categorization of offender behaviors? Oh, right. Classifying offender behaviors as either organized or disorganized. An organized killer will plan their crimes in advance, bring weapons or restraints with them, target specific types of victims. A disorganized killer is more spontaneous. They attack victims of opportunity, use weapons that are available in the moment. These terms are largely the combination of what we've already discussed. There's not much new here. As a framework, though, it should help you find what's important in solving this. So then, Desmond, tell me, would you say Bonnie's murder was committed by someone organized or disorganized? Plans crimes in advance, brings weapons and restraints with them, targets specific types of victims. Acts spontaneously, uses weapons and restraints that are available in the moment. Attacks victims of opportunity. This seems disorganized. Well, we know Bonnie was a sex worker. Considering the likelihood of ropes being used voluntarily, it all seems rather opportunistic. Perhaps? What the fuck? This game makes me feel like a fucking idiot. And yet, everything about the murder was tightly controlled. It seemed to go just the way he intended. The ligature marks all match, no defensive wounds. Okay, fair enough. That is a good point. This doesn't happen without some level of preparedness. So this reads more as an offender who has premeditated this murder, is waiting for a sex worker to follow him to tie her. That makes sense. Which inevitably takes us up to Ida, doesn't it? If Bonnie's murder was organized, then how do we consider Ida's? It seems a bit more complicated than just one or the other. Well, try to weigh up all the factors of the murder itself. What is more likely? That it was planned or of the moment? Okay, this time it's definitely disorganized. Fucked up the shirts, forgot her shoes. Yeah, disorganized. Here is adversely the mismatching ligature marks. Why tie her up with one kind just to strangle her with another? The beating, too. It just seems that for what went as planned with Bonnie, it all went differently with Ida.
Nicely deduced.
Nicely deduced, Desmond. Despite the similarities that can be found, it is these differences that flag an impulsiveness. This attack was simply not from a man with the same level of control and premeditation. This was someone acting in the moment. Right, so even if he did indulge in some of his usual rituals, he didn't necessarily go to Ida's home with the intention to kill. There were efforts to regain control, though. Her redressing, hiding her body, the cleaning, moving evidence.
Now you're getting somewhere.
Because this inability to avoid some of his habits and the attempt to hide them are part of his downfall.
Oh?
Oh, really?
Really?
So he knew these rituals could link him to Bonnie, but by him hiding them at Ida's crime scene, we know he was the murderer? Something from Bonnie's crime scene should be at Ida's, but it's not. We have a statement telling us as much. Yep. Exactly. Dennis claims that he smoked while there, but there are none of his cigarette butts in the ashtray. This is more than enough to put it all together now, Desmond. The how, what, the why, and the who. Put what you think tells the story into a closing statements. No more guessing games. Time to see if you can close this out. The closing statement, and yet it feels like so much of this is in the air. Well, somewhere in here are the answers. All I can do is work through it. Tell the story as Lenore put it and see where it takes me. Closing theory. The last client to see Ida alive was... Whichever way this goes, the murderer had to have been a client. Both were in Ida's home recently, so who was the last? The disorganized nature of Ida's murder means the weapon used to strangle her was likely improvised. The answer must be there in the evidence. This has to be one of the biggest unanswered questions. I have a feeling this will come down to what we know about our murderer. What we expected him to do. Lenore squared in on this. The ritual the murderer followed. So which habit did the murderer leave with Bonnie but remove from Ida? The cigarette butts. Lastly, the motive. It doesn't seem to fit with any kind of jealousy issue. Both of these men were well aware of Ida's work. Is counting that, though, going by the evidence we have? Let's see. These seem to be the clearest possibilities that have appeared throughout the evidence. There must be something that singles one out. So there it is. Who, how, what, and why. Thing is, nothing clearly leads onto either suspect, at least not yet. So what is it about the ritual that Lenore sees as being so pivotal to this?
I've come this far.
I've come this far. But if I can't figure this out, then whatever I've proven here up until now, it'll be for naught. Okay, the last client to see Ida alive. Which client from Ida's black book was the last to see her alive? The last to see her alive. Gary claims he wasn't there. It must have been Dennis. The item used spontaneously as a weapon. Where can the weapon used to strangle Ida be seen? Afterwards, the carpet was cleaned to hide. What ritual evidence was at Bonnie's crime scene at which statement proves it should be at Ida's? Right, this one I'm very certain of. 2 Windsor bolts. And let me see. Yep, Windsor bolts. Second alibi. He said something about his smoke. I barely finished my smoke before I'm out. Of all the repeat behaviors, the strangulation, wrist tied, the gag, apart from the weapon used, they've all been accounted for with Ida. But was this also part of the ritual? It was a rambling statement, really, clawing at anything that could deflect attention away from him, but this line here about what he left behind, I think I see what Lenora means now. The implications of this, if that's the case, then... I passed these cigarettes off by Bonnie as a kind of boldness from the killer, but this adds up. The butts by Bonnie are Windsor bolts. We know Dennis smokes them. We've seen a packet of them on him. And yet, even though Dennis claims to have had a smoke before leaving Ida's, her ashtray only accounts for the red valleys.
It has to be.
It has to be. This is what fits here. There should be at least one Windsor bolt at Ida's, but there isn't. Two? Specifically two? Okay. It's likely Ida's murder was triggered by... Which evidence shows the reason bleach was used in Ida's home? The item used spontaneously as a weapon. So we know she's strangled. But with what? Her neck. Strange shape, fairly sure this mark is from a ligature. Thick, with a circular shape of some sort on the end. Despite the beating, I would think this strangulation. That could be his belt. Yep, it's circular. Yep, it's the belt. Belt buckle D. I knew the circular mark on Ida's neck was unusual. In the context of an unplanned attack, a belt with a large buckle does fit as an improvised ligature. I'll just keep track of it like this, at least until I commit my theory to Lenore. The evidence might seem to fit, but I have a feeling it's not the only way we could look at this. Okay, so that might be wrong. I can remove it. Okay, interesting. What else could it be, though? Okay. Hold on. Oh, shit. Stop. It could be this one. Hold on. Uh-huh. Shit. Okay, we have two different belts. So I guess that's just to be like, you sure? Are you sure? Okay. It's one of the belts. Wait, hold on. He didn't say... Put it in again. Because if Gary's clothes were still there, well, then why would he get rid of them? Okay. What about the others? The last client to see Ida alive was... I mean, everything points to Dennis, but that seems almost too... Dennis Clay or Gator Chaser? Are the nerves sign of an innocent man in over his head, or murder desperate and cornered? It can only be Gary or Dennis at this point. Let's see if I have evidence to back this up. Afterwards, the carpet was cleaned to hide. There's a likelihood she fought against someone here, probably her murderer. The way the scratches all radiate out from one point, it reads like she was kicking out violently. With the bleach stain here too, it only adds suspicion. Probably an attempt to cover up evidence of what happened. Pet vest, Florida-themed trucker cap, necklace with cross pendant, cigarettes from Windsor Bowls, sweaty arm... His sweat? No, that can't be it. Marks on his wrist, very peculiar. Is it just me or do these look like incredibly similar to some of the injuries well, we know he got tied up. Just do some things out of town. Can't be driving. I dropped by that trailer. As for a light... Okay. It's not Dennis. The last one to see her alive was Dennis. But the item used was Gary's belt. Because near the circular mark, because the carpet was bleached to hide the blood from Gary's nose. Because he's been strangling her from behind. And then she like knocks his nose in with the back of her head. He bleeds on the floor, and that's what the bleach is there to hide. We know the post-offense behaviors were all about covering tracks. What else would be other than cleaning up evidence of blood? Okay. It's likely Ida's murder was triggered by money, drugs, or child support. So, let me read about divorce. Concerning James was born a year after his first son, an affair. These charges seems like they're all to do with trucking. So hold on. I knew Ida years back. We had that boy, so for a bit I'd covered him. I ain't doing that no more. He ain't mine, no proper like. Not proper like. I don't speak with him. So he could have done it because he was paying child support to an affair child. And he didn't want to do that anymore. So killing her would either put James in a home or get him, you know, he would have to go to next of kin. So he would probably be sent to Gary, assuming he'd take him. And we know that Gary has been in contact with James. So maybe it's like I miss my son. I know my baby mama isn't good to him. Because James mentions a lot about like how she wasn't very nice to him. He uses slang that Gary uses about her. I think this is it. Ready to present your final theory? I'm sure you're quite excited to do so, but let me be clear. Had you been in the field on this theory, this is what you would present for an arrest warrant. So then, Desmond, tell me, have you thought it all through carefully? This is not the one you play guessing games on. Yes. Desmond? This evidence, the accusations here, you're targeting two different suspects with them. What? Who are you even imagining is the guilty one here? Well, okay, because I wrote Dennis. Right. Durr. Okay, fine. Let me... No. What the... Hello? You're not letting me change anything. Hey! Hold on. Let me just try to reload this, because it's not letting me click on anything. But that is fair, though. That is totally fair, because I forgot that he was still a client. So of course that would be him. Yep. Remove it. Right. So, that's my bad. That one is on me. That one is me just forgetting to put Deep Forest in here. Gary Warren, Deep Forest. In terms of his connection, it could only be Gary Dennis at this point. Let's see if I have the evidence to back this up. Yes. Okay, here we go. So that was just the game's way of saying, dude, this is like extremely stupid. Okay, now we go. Good. Let's see what you have here. The last client to see... Because we have the note, too. The last client to see Ida alive is Gary Warren, otherwise known as Deep Forest. Intriguing. So then, Desmond, tell me, to get us started. How did you arrive at this belt as the murder weapon? It comes down to the only indicator we have, the mark left by the ligature on Ida's neck. This circular shape with a thicker band than usual, too. There was only one type of object in this case that fit. The trucker's belt. In Gary's case, unlike both Dale and Dennis, the lack of one entirely. So what happened to it? Knowing his level of caution, the danger of forensic testing on it, my guess is it's long gone. Importantly, too, it fits the behaviors of the crime. What better ligature than what's immediately on hand?
Not bad.
Not bad. These ligature marks aren't always easy to identify. Then there's the post-offense behaviors, starting with the carpet. Care to elaborate on what was likely removed? The only thing we can prove from our evidence that would have contaminated the area where Ida was attacked. Blood. More specifically, though, Gary's blood. Ida wouldn't have been able to do much, tied at the wrist like she was. But going by this injury, she clearly put up a fight. Enough that it fit directly into his biggest concern. Leaving evidence of himself, something he's shown time and time again to be most cautious about. I see. Okay, then. Arguably the most significant Fuck. Oh no. That's Dennis' behavior. This doesn't fit. Damn it. I mean, we don't know anything about what he smokes. Dennis is the only one we know smokes these. We know nothing about Gary. Arguably the most significant post-offense behavior. Seems like you worked it out. With Dennis's Windsor Bolt cigarette missing from Ida's ashtray, someone had to have removed it.
Why, though?
But why, though? That's the real question. For Gary, it fits right into what he's always been doing, hiding all traces of himself from Ida's home. Why else would he remove them? He's a man of rituals, after all, and there was one last habit he couldn't help himself doing. 2 smokes after the work was done. Alright, reasonably compelling, Desmond. Question is... For him to have done this without premeditation, what could have triggered such a violent attack?
Here's what I'm thinking.
Certainly a tricky one, but here's what I'm thinking. It seems to me that someone took Ida's savings. Probably Gary, but I think that was rather incidental. It wasn't the root cause. The support Gary had been giving, though, the insurance on James, had stopped. He'd said himself he wasn't giving them anything else. The garbage on the floor, the circling of DF on the schedule, Ida just seemed exhausted and desperate for his help. You've certainly thought this all through, I'll give you that. Only, I do have one last question. Think about this carefully because it matters quite a bit in tightening your case overall. Out of all this evidence, what will you present that incriminates your suspect as the last person most likely to see Ida alive? The garbage on the floor. Because James mentions that he'd sometimes bring treats like the pie. That might have been for James more than it has been for her. Because it comes from that cafe that James likes. Alright, intriguing. Well, Desmond, I have to give it to you. I asked for a story, and you certainly gave me one. Thing is...
Are you sure about that?
Are you sure about that? Was it the right story? The right details? What is it even the suspect? What? Let's see once and for all how close you were. Fuck! You were in fact correct, about Gary at least, but you did make a number of mistakes getting there. Getting your guy is one thing, but Desmond, these slips would likely see you losing your warrant. From here, we can briefly discuss it. Go over some of the finer details and motivations. A chance to clear some up, too. Sometimes, though, it can help to go over the material yourself in your own time. Dissect it in your own way. Up to you. Imagine solving it differently. Is this really how this was meant to play out? After all this effort just to fall short at the very end? Can't be. If I had the chance again, what could I have done differently? Okay, so it lets you try again. So all of these were correct. But it says the child support part is wrong. Drugs is also wrong. Hold on. Desertion. Hold on. Stop. Designate truck en routes and falsifying his logbooks. Considered usual behavior. I mean, that suggests money, but that's not right. Of course... You would have 2 children to take care of then. If she was saving for moving, that's a decent amount of money. I don't think it's right. Well, let's try all this again. Of course, now I have to skip through all this shit.
So then, Desmond, tell me.
Ah, boy. Okay, give me a moment. Well, in that case, it has to be witness statements. Well, okay, there's also the notepad indentations, like, she's circled, he's the last one on the list. I mean, witness statements, I really want that lot lizard thing to add up.
Are you sure about that?
Alright, I know the first 4 are correct. Go. Okay. Yes! Okay. You were, in fact, exactly right. On all counts.
Nicely deduced.
Nicely deduced, Desmond. That was excellent work. I'm quite impressed. I mean, I gave you a do-over and endless time to brute force your way through the evidence on some questions, but you did all right. I mean, to be fair, in a real investigation, you'd have a lot of time to try out all sorts of, you know, thought patterns. This is more of an immediate exam. That being said, though, there's value in breaking this down in detail, particularly so when I have a question or two for you yet.
Well,
I've come this far. I have to hear the story in all its detail. Let's see this through. Let's start then with the statement James made against Dennis, or rather, for Gary. He was most certainly taken seriously, but even so, James' behavior suggested a reason not to fully trust what he had to say. If you recall... Yes, here it is. It finally fucking adds up. I've been trying to point that out for an hour! If you recall, Gary referred to Ida with an unusual term, a rather derogatory label for sex workers operating out of truck stops. I just ain't got no reason for it being out there. That lot lizard caused me enough trouble.
Okay.
Okay, I see. I did wonder what he meant by lot lizard. I believe I know where this is going, though. A similar comment James made. Only he stumbled over the wording. He weren't mean like she was. Ma, she never gave me nothing except lip, maybe. A lock lizard is what she was. So, if I had used that as my last bit of evidence there, would that have worked too? Surely that comes from a place of misunderstanding what he's hearing too, right? Perhaps. Most importantly, this mimicry itself reveals James' tendency to repeat what he hears from his father. Gary had tried to deflect attention onto Dennis in his interview, so it's not too difficult to imagine. James was simply saying what Gary wanted him to, knowing the whole time that his father was the last one with his mother. Exactly. Now, as for the weapon. It was indeed a belt with a large rounded buckle. Forensics testing proved as much. The bruising matched perfectly to a source replica of this exact buckle seen here, and we could do more than assume this is Gary's. Truckers take on the handles as part of their identity, like you said. It was the same with Gary. The buckle, a road bending into trees, and a man with a tendency to zig back roads. Deep forest. Then we have the carpet stain. You only needed to take a look at Gary to know that he had quite the injury to his nose, and surely one that had bled, profusely even. Blood was eventually recovered from deeper in the carpet pad. It did indeed match to Gary's type, not Dale's, Dennis's, or even Ida's. As a rather common blood type, though, hardly definitive. So what this comes down to is offender behavior. You said it exactly. This fits Gary. Blood test aside, it just wouldn't make sense for Dennis to remove only half of his forensic evidence. Which brings us similarly to my own question, the proof of who was last with Ida. Between the pie and the condoms, there was indeed incriminating evidence against both men in the garbage. However, neither places one there before the other definitively. The statements against Dennis we've also dealt with. I did consider how Ida rushed Dennis, that she clearly had a follow-up visitor, but there's no way of proving that was Gary either. The schedule Ida made of the day, though. Of all the evidence, that's the one that's time-sensitive and free from manipulation. Right, the GC and the notepad indentations can only fit one name in all the evidence, Gator Chaser.
If that's the case,
then it's more than reasonable to assume DF follows the same logic. I wondered why he was so skeptical when I suggested the last to see Ida on her list DF was Dale. Now I know why. If these are handles, then this is Deep Forest, not Dale. Gary was always meant to be the last there that day. And now for a final point, the why. A rather nuanced and difficult summation to make with what we have. Let's start with Ida's work. Tell me, where could we find information on what Ida charged these men for their services? The Black Book. It would have to be Ida's Black Book, at least based on what Dennis mentioned.
If that's the case.
30 for the 2 times, so then 15 for each. If that's the case. This simply doesn't match the indentations from Ida's notepad. Those numbers were likely time-related rather than money. Well, that much I knew. The Black Book listings, however, is right there. 15 for Dennis, just like she said, or perhaps even more importantly, 0 for Gary. Yep, indeed. She never asked for money from him. From what we can see here, she chose not to. Dennis being in a relationship with Ida or being asked of more money than he paid is purely speculative, so let's move past that. If Ida wasn't after anyone's support, then that just leaves Ida's drugs and money, or lack thereof. Only thing is, based on what someone told us in their statements, it couldn't have been the drugs, so then tell me. Why is that? If the drugs weren't there, then someone had to have taken them, right? Based on statements, the one who took the drugs must have been... Oh shit. I mean, that must have been... Why would Dennis take the drugs? Based on statements, the one who took the drugs must have been... Can't have been James. James... Oh, yes! James sold some of her stuff. It has to be when James talked about catching a bus, wasn't it? He didn't mention taking money off Ida's to pay for it. Sold something off Mars at the Gas and Go. Caught a bus what came by. I was at a station a whiles. Then another bus took me to college. Yeah, right. Ida didn't really seem to own much, so what else would have had that kind of value?
Exactly.
Somewhere between Dennis paying Ida and James leaving to college, that money vanished. It's hard to imagine, though. All this, for what? It seems so complicated, but really...
It was right there.
It was right there. Yeah, it all adds up. Of course Ida didn't want anything from Gary. He hadn't called her needy or greedy. He called her clingy. She wanted something from him that he wasn't willing to give. Family, yeah. So the initial circles in like that. Ida rushing Dennis, James finding Gary over the CB. This wasn't any old visit. This was a rare visit. Ida and James, they were excited for it. Gary was at least telling the truth about keeping distance, wasn't he? And in the meantime, Ida had worked and saved, according to Cheryl. To get out of here. Where else but the place she kept framed by her bedside, College Creek. And when he finally did see her again, saw what she'd saved. Perhaps also her expectations of him, though. It is likely more complicated than just money once you dig deeper. Yeah, he didn't want her to move closer. This is not a man who tolerates feelings of restriction too well. His first marriage and logbooks are testament to that.
Yeah,
that makes sense. I can see how these profiles quickly become increasingly complex as you look further into them. It's just, well, speaking of digging deeper though, in this case, I don't know. Something about this still doesn't feel complete though. It seems to me that there's more than what we see here. I mean, Ida's murder was messy, sure, but Bonnie's, hers was clean. Practiced, I'd even say. There's ritual here that's been done before, right? We've thrown this term about, serial murder, but if I'm not mistaken, it's a term given after 3 timed and measured murders. Yes, well, following Gary's arrest, a search of his property was conducted to secure the case against him with further evidence. Nothing seemed to be coming up. Nothing except a small tin box half buried beneath an rusted old steel drum behind the house. Inside were rather harmless, albeit unusual items. A pair of women's shoes, some loose buttons, and a lock of blonde hair.
It's there in the evidence.
Thing is, it's there in the evidence that we had all along, the relevance of one of these objects. It was subtle, very much so, but if you did miss it, you can rely on logic to work this out regardless. So given what you've seen of his murder so far, which of these do you believe widened the investigation of Gary? The lock of hair. It's the only thing we haven't really talked about. If anything would be hard to spot from the crime scene photos we have, it would have to be the hair, right? Perhaps. But even if they did belong to either Bonnie or Ida, it would do little for linking Gary to further cases. Considering that there's 2 known victims, maybe more, we need to look oh yeah, the buttons. Okay, I'm an idiot. Sorry. As it would turn out, the hair and the shoes seem to have belonged to Gary's late mother. Oh? I mean, that's okay. You just threw that off to me. Oh, fair enough. The buttons, however. Yeah, there's only one here fucked up. Initially, one was matched to those on Ida's blouse. Close examination revealed she was in fact missing the first button. Well, I'll be. A detail as small as that. But then wouldn't that also mean... Oh my fucking god. Oh, you sneaky bastard. Alright. That's totally fair. That is definitely like the last page of the murder mystery novel. God damn you. It's the same in Bonnie's photo too.
In fact.
Another from the tin did in fact match to Bonnie's blouse. The top button. Fuck! Right at the end, I mess it up. Oh, but if that's the case, if these are some kind of keepsake from Gary's victims. There were how many in the tin? Quite a few, right? Yeah, there's like 7. Was every single one really... A wider search took some time, what with state borders nearby and the information confusion that comes along with that. But it was Gary's repeated behaviors that eventually made it possible to close out 3 cold cases and link them back to him. Anita Cola, Jane Erkins, Ashley Caldwell. 3 sex workers that went missing within 2 hours of Colditch Creek. 3 women who were then found strangled left by the sides of various back roads. Oh, God. The same thin ligature marks, underwear gag, 2 Windsor bolt butts, and a missing button.
Exactly.
Exactly like Bonnie. Without the outlier, Ida, this man might have been a lot more difficult to stop. 2 buttons remained unidentified, unfortunately. It's not easy, but we just have to take the win on the ones that had closure. And had you have been there, you would have confidently helped solve a serial murder case. Congratulations. Ah, thanks. It was intriguing and very enlightening to see how this behavioral analysis is done so effectively. I think I could really see myself doing this, to see what this monster had done, and to be a part of stopping it. Right, of course you do. Well, if you take your notes with you, be discreet about it. We've broken enough protocols with what you've seen as it is. That will be all, though, Desmond. You're dismissed. Wait, huh? That was quite offhanded, wasn't it? Was it something I said? Is that really it? Wait, Lenore, ma'am! Yes? Did we miss something? Yes, no, not exactly. Desmond, this has been a long night as it is, so for the sake of our tired brains... Right, I guess I just... What am I doing? Did I actually want to ask something? Did I upset you? Well, if I'm speaking freely, ma'am, then I came here with an excitement for this unit, eager to learn these new ideas. So I hope I haven't said something to offend you, or, well...
Not quite, Desmond.
Not quite, Desmond. A little saddened to hear such an oversimplification from you, perhaps. If you're going to take this role seriously, you need to avoid that trap of othering offenders. It's the fact that they're human that allows us into their thinking. Ah. She didn't like the fact that I called him a monster. Calling him a monster, you mean that?
Right.
That makes sense. The truth is, you're only a student. You've got a long road of a career path ahead of you, and a lot more to learn before you can even consider the BSU. Quite frankly, Desmond, there's enough highly motivated intuitions and feelings in this place. Your reasoning, if it's there in places, but it needs to be more reliable. At the very least, I intend to see this department develop into something that respects that, to become more than just horoscope columnists. Horoscope columnists, really? If that's how Lenore sees the BSU, then... You don't agree with what the BSU is doing? That's what this is about. You're trying to influence the department? To shift the curriculum after hours?
Not quite, Desmond.
Not quite, Desmond. I'm not sure I dare expect so much, and, well, there is more to inviting you than just that.
Desmond.
What you have is vulnerability. You imitate this role. It's not really you. Okay. Desmond, I'm complimenting you. It's far better to pretend that bravado than to identify yourself by it. We could do with a lot less of the latter, frankly. You have a clearer self of yourself internally, for better or for worse. Profiling is being in touch with internalized worlds, after all. It just can't be that alone. Without academic pairing, there's a real threat of projecting only yourself onto these murderers. Right, yeah. More psych classes, huh? Not what I had in mind, but it makes sense. Honestly, in a perfect world perhaps, but... Look, you'll do fine. Keep your head down, study. Commit to your first field assignment. I'm sure they'll have you. Despite knowing I did reasonably well with this case, I couldn't help but hear the cynicism at the edges of those final words. Over time, it made more sense. I'd learned Lenore never was accepted into the BSU proper, sidelined in training until she eventually chose to transfer out. I thought it was giving up, of knowing things would always fall short of what she hoped for, but in the end, there's strength in letting go of some things too. I did in the end spend some part of my career with the behavioral analysis unit, as it was renamed, but it never did quite feel deserved. I often think back to this boy, his desire to impress, to be needed, to be noticed. It's just a trap, a kind of void, an emptiness that can't be filled. I tried to stop letting it weigh on me. It really did. Oh, I really did. I guess some people just stuck with it. And so, I gave into it instead, in ways I never expected to, had never even imagined. Just like Lenore, there was peace in just letting some things go. Well, goddamn. Designer and developer, Dane Krams. This was interesting, to say the least. I still feel like a lot of these questions are worded so vaguely that so many things should be up for conversation. At the very least, like, no, this isn't what I'm looking for, but I understand why you would think of this. Which, again, I realize would require so much work. And you do it in some cases. There are moments where, you know, Lenore is like, yes, I can see why you would think of this, but this is not what's important here. I love the detail with the buttons at the end. I mean, I'm an idiot. I should definitely have thought of that. That was stupid of me. That was me at the very end fucking up completely after being, you know, probably just tired, honestly. I feel like a dumbass for that one. Warm thanks to you for spending time with this small world of mine. No, despite my complaints here and there, and my frustration, I love this world. And I love that it's kind of somber. Like, it's not like, hell yeah, you just... Oh! Oh? What the hell? Oh shit. What's happening? Like 37 years later? Lockett's Cafe, Cottage Creek. Well, I'll be. Hard to believe I'm really here, and right where he stood too. Or well, just about. 37 years. That can't be, can it? I couldn't tell you what I had for breakfast yesterday, and yet this case. I remember it all, like it just happened. 37 years since Gary Warren was arrested for 4 counts of murder. 1 for manslaughter. His prison is not even that far from here, actually. And yet this town, somehow it's happening again. What? Oh my god! She is right. They certainly are repeat behaviors. Despite what I told her, the cases are linked. Of course they are. The only question is, how can I talk her out of looking into it? What the fuck? Are we setting up a sequel? Well, goddamn you. What a setup at the end there. Alright, I don't know if I got, like, the best ending for this. I'm sure there's another one. I'm not playing the whole game again for that. I feel like there were occasions where my logic was sound and the game just shut it down. And the whole pie thing where you had to, like, basically say the same thing twice. But through 2... I mean, they did connect, so I'm not saying it's not valid. I'm just saying it feels like presenting one or the other should be enough. Because I was looking for, like, 2 different things that proved he was there. When in reality, it's 2 pieces of evidence that points to the same fact. So that really messed me up. There were definitely times where I just sat there like, what the fuck is the exact wording it looks for here? And that really messed with me. But aside from that, what an experience this was. I really enjoyed this. The Big Hollow, everybody. I have been made a fool of. I'm a dummy. I'm a dumbass. I guess that's all I can really say at the end of all this. Thanks so much for watching, and see you in another one. Bye-bye.